derivative still.
There she is. There she is.
There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone. Hello and welcome to Indefinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations number 154. And we're exploring all of the Twilight Zone. Today we're taking a closer look at Eye of the Beholder and Nick of Time. And so we've got some completely unforgettable Twilight Zone episode 1 that sticks with you forever. And the second one has William Shatner. But no, nothing is on the wing. That's a different episode. We'll get that there later. And I'd like to welcome my panelist today, my co-host, Scotty R37.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. How are you doing?
Fugly. I am a very severely unattractive man wrapped in bandages, hoping that I don't get sent away to the village.
Yeah, but you know what? You'll be with all the ugly people, and maybe, I will be there too, and we could all be ugly together, and so it won't even matter.
That sounds like a thing.
Actually, I think that's a line from a Nirvana song.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah. Beholder, I just met her. Ha! I think it's something like I'm ugly and so are you. Something from, it's like lithium. From lithium. And so Richard Matheson writes why is this here? Oh, okay.
Famous last words. What is this doing here?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did put some trivia in the wrong spot in my notes, but it's trivia for the second episode. Okay, so let's ignore that and skip that over that. And see who's with us today in the chat. We've got Sigvaldison, who says both are great episodes, but I'm going with William Shatner. The William Shatner episode, because it is William Shatner. Great answer. He also says, praise to the Eldritch God who will liberate all of humanity one day. All of our burdens of life taken from our shoulders.
Sounds like the end of Beneath the Planet of the Apes or something. It's crazy.
It is. I think it's supposed to sound crazy, but also what's not so crazy is Sigvaldison sent $10. So thank you so much for supporting the channel very specifically. He says, thanks to Jill. Maybe enough after YouTube gets its blood money to maybe buy a coffee. Ooh. Okay, so this is very specifically coffee money. I have to remember to use it for that. Thank you, Sigvaldison. That is my favorite morning beverage. Again with the Eldritch Gods, says Gavin. The guy in the thumbnail has a familiar disposition. Yeah, I think I've seen him somewhere before.
Yes.
There's only one who's trapped in a stasis field in the center of the earth. All right. Yes, that is where he is, Sigvaldison. Shatner is not wearing his lace hairpiece in the picture. 1960 and receding quite heavily. Gavin, I'm so glad you said that. I feel if Pop Culture Curator were here, he would say that too. He always loved talking about Shatner's hair. some reason. I was, but if the button is pushed, there's no walking away. We will all have a great day that day, in my honest opinion.
Isn't that just like the destruction of everything?
Yes, everything.
It doesn't
The
sound like a good
universe.
time. I've got plans on Saturday.
Yeah. No, I don't want a breakdown of the entire universe and all physics. No, that doesn't sound good. I thought Canadians had smooth, featureless faces, says Gavin Blackburn.
I'm not your friend, pal. I'm not your buddy, friend.
I'm not your friend, guy. Greek Letters Larson says, beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. Until you meet me, my ugliness is undisputed. Yeah, but
come on, Greek letters.
we won't send you away, Greek Letters. Mage's Media Musing says, Eye of the Beholder, I think, was the first episode I ever saw. Wow. Your first episode was a killer. Wow.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I this episode has permeated pop culture. Like it is a cultural reference of television, specifically of the Twilight Zone. And so this was one of those episodes that harkens back to what I've been saying. It's like, oh, I just got to wait until the end to see the pop goes the weasel kind of thing. And yeah, it's good. I'd never seen it before, and we'll get into it as we talk.
It's like well, and you already knew the surprise.
Yes,
everybody knows it. But it is like it's like a mascot for the Twilight Zone. If ever there was an episode for it, for
sure.
PG says beauty is only skin deep, but ugly goes all the way to the core. Oh no!
Sure thing.
Wait a minute.
No, that's true. That's true. That's an old adage.
Okay.
Thanks,
if
PG.
you are ugly on the inside, I agree. But interesting. Lemon Pie says this is why Bill Shatner's famous being in this episode. Yes, that's right, Lemon Pie. This was his yeah.
Is this like his breakthrough? Like post?
Is this his breakout? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, going to Hollywood, getting a role on a major television. Well, yeah, a major television series.
Definitely. That makes
still looks great. Still looks great. Strapping young man, I tell you.
The glove cleaner's here. Hey, good afternoon. And also,
hey, glove cleaner.
Pleasant Valley Picker CA, both great episodes.
Hey, PvP.
He can't stay, but he wanted to comment as these are both top episodes. Oh, thank you so much for driving by.
Yep. True story.
William Shatner over does. Oh yeah, but you can say hi to him again.
You're right.
There you are. Does William Shatner overact in Twilight Zone like he did in Star Trek? Well, he does act like a theater actor, so I don't know if it was overacting.
He does get a little intense. Subtle. Well, it gets a little intense with his bride to be.
He does, but not the entire time. Just when at the right moments, he's perfect. But I think he's always perfect. And the only time William Shatner overacts in Star Trek is season 3, when the scripts are so bad that he's just like, oh, this sucks. I know what I can do. I can play this up and be little nuts and make this more fun. Pleasant Valley Picker CA says Shatner first appeared on CBC broadcast doing Shakespeare, I believe. Yes, that's right. Yeah. And that's where he came up with the pausing, the whole waiting to speak.
I think PvP waiting to speak as I interrupt you. PvP's right in terms of the journey that Shatner took from Stratford to CBC, but then also Gavin follows up PvP's comment with Shatner's breakout role was arguably Judgment at Nuremberg, which I'd forgotten about, but you're absolutely right there too. I just think that once he made a Hollywood movie and was in an American television show, like I could have had 3 seasons on the CBC and no one would care because no one watches the CBC.
Yes, and that makes it. Oh no, my phone is calling me, and I don't want to answer it. Let me just
Well,
hang
you
up.
should check and see who it
It's
is.
nobody I know. I'm not ignoring anyone.
Okay.
So the reason you wait a minute, I can't hear you because they're still calling. Damn it.
Damn it.
Okay, I hung up. Good.
Hopefully they'll leave a
Okay,
message.
hopefully they leave a message if it's important. But typically, the only people who call me are marketers or people who want my money for and offer nothing in return.
Hey, I
I'll have to
resemble
get
that
up.
remark.
And the reason you interrupted me earlier is because I was trying to do a pause of my own, but it didn't work. Mage's Musing says I'll have to get up and walk my dog in the middle of this. Oh,
Adventure.
okay. Yay. I was asking Bill Shatner, is Bill Shatner famous for any other? Oh, okay. Oh, that was a joke. Oh, okay. Lemon Pie, I'm sorry. We'd missed your joke. That is cute. Pleasant Valley Picker says Shatner doesn't overact. People pick out a few bad episodes and apply it to all his. Well, yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. The only time, you can find all those crazy scenes that people pick out from Star Trek or season 3. But he
Well,
does get excited.
of course.
He can be subtle, and he's very subtle in this one, except for when he's intense, as Scotty said. If they want your money, offer them Federation credits, says Gavin. Oh, good idea. Yes. All right. So, Eye of the Beholder first aired on November 11th, 1960. It was written by Rod Serling and directed by Douglas Hayes. And underneath the bandages is Maxine Stewart, and unmasked is Donna Douglas. And then we have William D. Gordon as the doctor, Jennifer Howard as the nurse. The leader is played by George Camus, and the reception nurse is played by Joanna Hayes. So, and that is, of course, the director's wife. And I think there was a problem. Well, not a problem, but she was in her full makeup and everything, and Douglas Hayes saw her, and when she came into the set with the full outfit on, I glanced over and said, "Hi, honey, shouldn't you be in makeup?" The day did not go well from that point afterward. So maybe not a good idea to tease your wife.
All right, I guess it's time to go home. I'm going to make up to have this removed. No, baby. Leave it on.
Uh-oh. I don't know. Nobody is actually saying that happened on set.
Well, it's so funny because usually I can, like, with actors, watching them on the Twilight Zone, it's part of my favorite things. It's like, where's Waldo? It's like, oh, I know that person, and we'll get into it when we watch Nick of Time. But with this one, I'm like, I have no idea who anybody is. I know that the pretty lady is pretty. I thought that the good-looking guy was James Garner for a second, and then I was like, nah, he's too short. And then, so this is something, and it reminds me, because we had to watch, didn't have to. I was very happy to watch Who Mourns for Morn. And my roommate walked past as I was watching it, and he said, the worst part about watching this, like specifically Quark heavy Star Trek episodes, he's like, I don't know who any of the actors are. Can't tell under all the prosthetics. Same thing happened here.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, they had 12 different extras, all with these piggy masks on. And as Gavin says, squeal, piggy. And PvP's got to go. See you later, PvP. Thank you for visiting this morning. Hope you have a good day.
Have a Twilight Tuesday.
And he also lets us know Donna Douglas, since of course I mentioned her name, best known for playing Ellie Mae Clampett on Beverly Hillbillies, and this is before that role, so she was completely unknown. So if it's anybody's breakout role, it's hers.
Yeah, I never really watched. I don't remember If I had those classic sitcoms, I remember Jed Clampett and Granny and maybe Jethro, but generic blonde and stodgy bank manager. Those are actors, and I'm like, never. Nope. That's Melba Toast as far as I'm concerned. That's a Triscuit. I don't care. So, but yeah, good for
Like
good for
Triscuits.
knowing. I like Triscuits as well. I do as well. But I'm just saying, it's one of those canapes that you're not necessarily going to remember in 15 minutes time. Everyone always told me that Ellie Mae Clampett was good looking, and I was like, really? All right. I don't know what it was. I suppose if you go shoulder to
Canapes?
shoulder,
Oh, right.
canapes.
Canadian meal. Okay. The crackers stuff. Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
remember now. I just
But
haven't
yeah,
had them.
you put Ellie Mae Clampett shoulder to shoulder with Elizabeth Montgomery from Bewitched or Barbara Eden from I Dream of Jeannie, and I'm taking.
Pop culture is just always food for you. It's funny. Okay.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
So before we talk about the episode, there was a little bit of drama with the name Eye of the Beholder. There was another TV show going on called, what is it called? The TV show was called General Electric Theater, and they did an anthology too, and they were using this name, and they were like, "Hey, we're trying to promote this, and your episode is going to confuse everybody because it's the same name." But Serling says, I can well understand your feelings of propriety in the title I am the beholder, and the tone of your letter seem to indicate you're aware of my position on the other side of the spectrum. The quote is as eminently public domain as it is eminently well known, and it never occurred to me that anyone had capitalized on it and that my use of it would be detrimental. And so they didn't change a thing. Anyway.
I thought I saw something where there is an alternate title, though.
Yes, something about darkness. I didn't grab it.
The Private World of Darkness.
There it is. Thank you. The Private World of Darkness. And so let's get into the episode. What Mark Scott Decree says, I try to paraphrase the companion as much as I can, so you need to buy his book to get his actual words, but in this case, I really love what he says, and so I'm going to read verbatim here his basic review of the whole thing. What makes this episode remarkable is the artistry of its creators, the delicacy and sensitivity of Serling's writing, the directorial imagination and control of Douglas Hayes, the superb delivery of all the actors, the visual beauty and technical perfection of George Clement's camera work, the alien and moody score by Bernard Herrmann, and the brilliant makeup work by William Tuttle. And so that's it. And so this was actually Buck Houghton, the producer, realized that this was going to be very difficult for the director to shoot. And so that's why he picked Douglas Hayes to work on this one.
So it's brilliantly directed in terms of the shadow and the framing of the shots, keeping certain things obscured, and also the building of an uneasy tension based on the fact that you're being told so much about how ridiculously unattractive, mangled even this patient is, but you're also withheld the facial features of the attending medical staff, and so it does make you feel uneasy.
Yeah, that someone could be so ugly as to be rejected completely by society, and what society would shun someone just for being ugly. That is a part of the episode. And so we have a patient. They're trying to help her, and she's being attended by the nurse with some sleeping medicine, the patient she's been wrapped up in these bandages, so she wants to hear all about how beautiful the day was outside since she can't see anything, and she has to wear these bandages until they figure out whether or not they can fix her face. And if I didn't know the ending, I would suggest, I would wonder if she was a burn victim, or maybe she was born with something that she wants to get rid of or fix.
Well, and I'm
And
always fascinated by these
yeah,
productions where there's like full head wrappings and whatnot. And a lot of the time, we're informed of it as an audience through a character saying, "Oh, you can't see," and but the reality of it, while she obviously cannot see, probably can't hear a lot either, having her head wrapped like that. And so it would be a difficult thing. And I only noticed a little bit of ADR, the post production re-recording of dialogue to come to the forefront. And so it does sound like it was captured on the day, but I'm not 100% sure.
in what I read, I didn't hear of any actors having difficulty hearing. Just that is a good question. If we could, I wish we could ask the actress herself.
We'll ask the seer.
But they're, yeah, okay. So I have I need to find my pennies then.
Don't skip ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to skip ahead.
That's okay. So she's explaining how her first memory is another child screaming while witnessing her for the first time. And she's just been waiting to take off these bandages, and she's running out of patience. Nurse says maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but it could be weeks away for all the patient knows. And so we notice very quickly that the faces of the hospital staff are all obscured by darkness or by the camera. And so it's very interesting that this is one of the most revered Twilight Zone episodes, which largely has no actors expressing themselves for most of the runtime. And the nurse explains that she has seen the patient's face, and that if she had that face, she would bury herself. And for a number of, so apparently the network suggested to cut this line. If it were mine, I'd bury myself in a grave someplace. They wanted that to be removed, but Serling and Houghton were responsible to decide whether or not to keep it, and they didn't remove the line. I love that the network can make a suggestion, and every time Serling is like, nah, I'm keeping it.
Integrity,
So,
I suppose.
mhm.
Integrity based on the story as well, not selfish integrity for career purposes. Well, I suppose it is. Your art, your work is reflective of you as a person. But sticking to your guns, for lack of a better term.
Speaking of selfish, I'm going to be selfish. I want you to read the opening narration, and I'll read the closing.
Okay, we can pong.
Yeah.
All right, maestro, if you will. Suspended in time and space for a moment, your introduction to Miss Janet Tyler, who lives in a very private world of darkness, a universe whose dimension are the size, thickness, length of a swath of bandages that cover her face. In a moment, we'll go back into this room, and also in a moment, we'll look under those bandages, keeping in mind, of course, that we're not to be surprised by what we see, because this isn't just a hospital, and this patient 307 is not just a woman. This happens to be the Twilight Zone, and Miss Janet Tyler, with you, is about to enter it.
Yes. Yes, and he comes out. Oh, I should have put. Well, I don't know if I had the slides. Sterling. Yeah, so I missed getting those slides. So I'm glad your Sterling is getting better, I think.
It always starts off like Zap Brannigan, but then it gets better. It starts off with, my God, And then it ends off in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. So despite being abhorrent to look at by all, the patient is very healthy, it's reported. And the doctor promises they will take her bandages off soon. And the patient says, sometimes I think I've lived my whole life inside of a dark cave with walls of gauze, and the wind that blows into the mouth of the cave smells of ether and disinfectant. Of course, there's a kind of comfort living inside this cave, wonderfully private. Nobody can ever see me. It's hopeless, isn't it, doctor? And so, to be so different that you're relieved no one can see you is like that the bandages could be a kind of comfort from the rest of the world is kind of sad. And the doctor isn't sure they can fix her face. This is the 11th try, and they can only do this experiment 11 times. They have a limit of how many times they can try, and this is the final one. And he apologizes. The doctor apologizes. They can't use plastic surgery, so just regular plastic surgery apparently doesn't work for her particular condition. But yeah, her bone structure and her everything about her keeps them from being able to use surgery. So they have to use medicine. They inject her with stuff. What stuff? We're not really told. So
Filler?
if the,
Well, you'd have to make a thicker lip. You'd have to do something to her nose.
Yeah, but that stuff is pretty temporary. This would have to be a permanent kind of thing.
Well, repeat visits. From what I understand, filler is it's fleeting. It's not something that you get to keep with you forever.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. If the patient doesn't respond to treatments after 11th time, they have to consider alternatives since this person cannot be integrated into society. She's so ugly, nobody wants to see her. So we know immediately this is a different kind of society here that ostracizes people just for their, not just ostracize, but segregates people because of their appearance. And I don't yeah.
Go ahead. You don't.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we do have to explore a bit of that society.
Well, and yeah, we do have to explore a little bit of the society because it becomes more and more frightening as we go through the episode. But like I used to work in a town, lived in a town where there were people who had suffered facial maladies due to their consumptions or disease. Like some people, I don't know the specific diseases because I didn't have them. I was just like, oh, that man has no nose. And so there were things that were done, bandages and coverings that were made to make it so that it was like, okay, just don't pay attention to the fact that he has no nose. And it's like, it's kind of hard to miss. It's as plain as that not on his face. And so there are things, I think, that even in our society, if there are things that happen to people in terms of what is considered to be aesthetically pleasing. Heck, I have a prosthetic in my mouth because people didn't want to see my jack-o'-lantern smile. I still have to fix the other half of it. And so there are things where just the common aesthetically pleasing nature of humans, something that people all recognize, if it deviates drastically, then you yourself find repulsion.
Yes, but nobody tries to send you to a village. So this, of course, is an extreme commentary on societally imposed beauty standards.
Sure. Yeah, no, you're right. It is heightened.
Mm-hmm. See, who made it here? Someone new is here. Maggie is here. Hello, Maggie.
Hey, Maggie.
Let's see. Oh, Croft dinner.
It's craft dinner, but good guess.
Sigvaldason says, dislike solicitors lying and trying to say my neighbors are changing garbage company. What? Oh,
Oh, just talking about the people who were calling you trying to sell you stuff with nothing in
yeah,
return.
exactly. The reveal in this episode, they can openly tease because you'll never guess. I was thinking when I first viewed it, perhaps there were some kind of aliens. Yes. Can't eat. I can't remember what I thought when I first watched this, but definitely not what I ended up seeing. I was privileged to not have this spoiled for me. I watched the first time I watched it. I didn't know.
Oh, it was
How the
totally
heck?
spoiled.
Yeah, sorry. How the heck are you supposed to smoke a cigarette with all those wrappings? That's hell. Yeah. Hopefully she's not a smoker.
But that's also when you're having any medical procedure that has a full head wrapping. It's like, and no smoking. And so after a while, you're just going to not want a cigarette because the nicotine gets flushed out of your system. I'm sure that there's a lot of bed rest happening here. It could be one of the best ways to quit smoking. Just have your head wrapped and lie in a bed for a couple of months.
Yeah, she has been there for months. That's a good point. Her name is Jenny Talia. What? I thought we were doing Twilight Zone, not James Bond Christmas jokes.
Janet
Yeah.
Tyler.
Yes, Janet Tyler. That's her name.
But I like where your head's at, Greek letter.
Michael Jackson crossed the 11 times limit. Oh my God. Gavin,
True.
I wasn't expecting the Michael Jackson joke. Oh no. Yeah, I like. Well, and South Park, of course, carries that joke too. It's extreme with his nose falling off. Well, PG says the end of the episode makes it clear they're in a 1984 state. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
1984.
it's an easy shorthand. And they do say, like, as the episode continues, they say, don't feel abandoned by the state. If you feel abandoned by the state, then what would you be doing here? We've extended every opportunity to try and to fix this malady. But then by the time you get to the end, I think it goes a little too, I don't know, xenophobic, ethnocentric. There's something about it. Like there's obviously different groups of people
Yeah,
who look
that's
different
the whole
ways.
point is that they kind of fool you with how kind the staff is being to her, but you could still tell the dystopia that's lying beneath their sympathy.
Well, what do you expect from a bunch of pig people?
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, that was the case in Animal Farm too. Retro Man Entertainment says hello there. Hello there,
Hello,
Retro Man.
General
Good to see
Kenobi.
you. Could you read this, Scotty, from Entropy Manor?
One of my English teachers in middle school spoiled the ending of this one for us all. Still a great episode, but the lack of chance to see it fresh was annoying. Well, yeah, absolutely. Again, I can't remember not knowing. I think I knew what the
Oh,
ending to this episode was before I knew what the Twilight Zone was. It was that impactful on the people who saw it the first time or had heard about it in reruns. Like, I don't know. There's something about this that it was just everywhere. I don't think that you could possibly. Hey, Jedi
I
Master.
achieved it. I lived in a private cave of my own and completely was able to watch this without knowing what was going to happen. Jedi Master, hello.
Hey.
So, and then the doctor explains one of the options is that she could, if the treatment doesn't work, she can move to a special area where she can live with people like her. But here's this is a bit of a good exchange here. So I'm gonna put these in the chat, in the private chat. Oh man,
Jedi
okay.
Master
That's
is
good enough.
mobile, so make sure
Oh,
that
good.
you drive safe, sir.
Yes, have a good day, Jedi Master, with your all your appointments.
Be safe and make sure it all works out.
Okay.
All right. So I get to be. Are you going to be the? Do I get to be the boy and you get to be the girl,
Yes.
or do you want to be the boy and I'll be the girl?
No.
Okay. Hang on.
There's one more. There it is.
Okay. Well, you're starting, so.
May I walk outside? Please, may I? May I just go and sit in the garden just for a little while? Just to feel the air. Just to smell the flowers. Just to make believe I am normal? If I sit out there in the darkness, then this whole world is dark. And I'm more part of it like that. Not just one grotesque, ugly woman with a bandage on her face, with a special darkness all around. I want to belong. I want to be like everybody else. Please, doctor, please help me.
There are many others who share your misfortune. People who look much as you do. Now, one of the alternatives, just in the event that this last treatment is not successful, is simply to allow you to move into a special area in which people of your kind have been congregated.
People of my kind? Congregated. Oh, you mean segregated. You mean imprisoned, don't you, doctor? You're talking about a ghetto, aren't you? A ghetto designed for freaks.
Miss Tyler, now the state is not unsympathetic. Your presence here in this hospital is proof of that. It's doing all it can for you, but you're not being rational, Miss Tyler. Now, you know you can expect to live any kind of a life among normal people.
I could try. I could wear a mask or this bandage, or I wouldn't bother anybody. I'd just go my own way. I'd get a job, any job. Who are you people anyway? What is this state? Who makes all these rules and conditions and statutes? The people who are different have to stay away from the people who are normal? The state isn't God, doctor.
Miss Tyler, please, please.
The state isn't God. It hasn't the right to penalize somebody for an accident of birth. It hasn't the right to make ugliness a crime.
Straight to jail.
Yeah, she's. Well,
she could be a
that's exactly where
championship
she's going to be
fencer.
sent. Well, she's not going to be able to be free to do whatever she wants because, like you said, she's going straight to jail.
Well, not jail. Like, I don't know.
It is. It's a
Mr.
yeah.
Smith
They call it
seemed
a
happy at the end.
village. Yeah, they call it a village, but if you're not free to move about society, you're definitely going to be limited in the pursuits that you're going to be able to perform in. So, like you said, like what if she wanted to be a champion fencer? She couldn't fence with everybody. She's not
Sure she could.
allowed everywhere. Well, no,
That's the mask.
that's the whole point. Oh, yeah, that's what she said. I could wear a mask, but that's not she's not given that option. It's she has to be segregated. She's not allowed to be with normal people, even with the mask. That was just explained.
Miss Tyler, can you imagine wandering around in your state making people nauseous? Children run from playgrounds at seeing your disgusting visage. We can't have people like you wandering the streets.
Yeah, exactly. That's the society. So where this episode cannot be expressive with faces, it makes up for by everyone, where especially the main actress being so expressive with their hands. And she's in a frenzy to take off her bandage in those scenes that we were reading. And she wants to take it off now. And so the companion says the most difficult aspect in filming this episode it was in hiding the faces of the doctors and the nurses without limiting camera movement. So Hayes and George Clemens worked together to block every movement of camera and actor perfectly. And so as a result, says Mark Scott, the eye of the beholder is choreographed as meticulously as a ballet. Hayes recalls the trick in that was to keep you from seeing them for a great part of the story, yet I didn't want it to be obvious that I was only using hands and inserts and hearing dialogue, so I evolved a very complicated camera movement by which you were seeing the doctors and nurses all the time, but actually they would be passing one another at the exact same moment that the camera would be, so that you wouldn't really see their faces, or they'd go behind a pillar just as they were turning toward the camera, and so on, and the place was shadowed. And my justification for playing it that way was that the girl who was under the bandages couldn't really see them, so I was using it as her viewpoint. In other words, she knew that they were there, but she didn't know what they would look like. So, in a kind of way, it made it credible, the fact that we didn't know what they looked like either, because she didn't.
Which I think is like stylistically fantastic, because not only does it sort of have that separation between Ms. Tyler and the medical staff, but also it puts a division between the audience and the medical staff. You're afraid of Janet, because you're like, oh, I don't want to, we're going to see how fugly she is. And you're like, oh, this is going to be terrifying. And then you find out, and then it's sort of turned on its ear. It's like the authority figures in this are not the good guys. They're not the ones who are going to help. So,
yes, that's correct. But the nurses come and they get her to the bed, and she's subdued, and the doctor finally agrees to take off the bandages. So we're getting there. But
yes.
before we get there, I've got to thank Retro Man Entertainment for subscribing. Thank you so much for subscribing.
Cheers. Thumbs up, yeah.
So she has leprosy. Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, yeah, definitely. That was my first thought too. When they said, let's send you to a place with people like you, I immediately thought of leper colonies also.
Sexy leprosy.
Jedi Master says my wife is driving. Good. I'm glad you're not texting and driving.
Super
That is actually just as or more dangerous than drunk driving. So don't do that. Broga says, please help me, doctor. My God, this reminds me of one of the Metallica videos of their song One.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I haven't seen that music video, but I'm just saying that this episode has permeated pop culture as a whole. Like, it is something that, especially when you're talking about Metallica, or as you were saying earlier about Nirvana, or like The Simpsons. Like, there have been so many even throwaway gags in so many sitcoms that are just like, yeah, no, what are you doing? Oh, don't you remember that episode of The Twilight Zone? And it's like, oh, right, that. Even if you haven't seen it, you know it.
That's true. Yeah, this is the one. Eventually, I would have been spoiled. I just got lucky. Can I get this episode on DVD alone? I absolutely love this episode. It was so shocking at the end. I don't know. I think VHS used to do stuff like that, but I don't know about DVD.
Yeah, I'll look.
There might be one, but for DVD, I think it would be a small collection. The Norse light / shadows is very memorable. Definitely unique. She could try wearing a gimp mask, says Greek Letters Larson, like me when getting out of the house. Problem solved. Yes, that would be great if well, it still wouldn't be great, but it would be better than sequestering her away in a village, a prison that they just called a village. So she is not a number. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Apparently, she wouldn't be allowed. It's not allowed.
I'm looking to see if you can get this one alone. The first hit that I got was, yes, there is a Twilight Zone Essential Episodes DVD collection. However, and I'm pretty sure, like, for the DVD of the Twilight Zone, the complete series, like, it's $70 Canadian, which means it's probably about 40 American or 50. So you could get the entire series, and that's just on DVD. If you're looking for the Blu-ray, obviously there are other options. But yeah, you can have this specifically if you're looking for that episode only. I would recommend things that I can't recommend.
That's true too. But how much is the essentials versus? Oh, you said the
It was like $20
complete
Canadian,
collection.
so it's probably like $10 American.
Okay, so that could be an option, Brogu. You'd get more episodes than this one, but it would be cheaper than the $70 of getting the entire series. Sigvaldison finished my line that I she's not a number, she is a free woman. And I was just thinking of that because it's a village that's also a prison, and I thought of the prisoner.
Yes.
Penny
no balloons.
said,
Hey,
no,
Penny.
there's no, yeah, that's right, there is no rover. Hey y'all, on my way home from Women on Missions. Oh, that sounds like some good work you're doing.
Yeah.
Yes. The complete Blu-ray set is great. One of the best Christmas gifts I've ever gotten. Oh, that's wonderful. You got that for Christmas. And Mage Grey Wolf says,
Yes.
"Arr." Oh yeah, the
Yar.
pirate. Oh, there it is.
Yo ho, the Twilight Zone for me.
Mhm. Okay, so let's go back to the episode. And so now the doctor and the nurse are talking. So let's get through some of these slides. So my notes will be caught up here. And so the nurse is talking to the doctor. She goes to tell him that he shouldn't take this case too personally, and he knows this, but his problem is that he knows how good this woman is beneath her appearance.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Well,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
You can go first."
Well, I was just going to say that there is, because I know I'm making fun of the pig people, and I'm talking about the segregation and the ethno-state or whatever this episode is supposed to represent, aside from the obvious "Oh, Henry." I suppose it could be an allegory for civil rights as well. It's like, oh, we could fix you, and it's like, oh no, still different than us. But and it's the only reason I bring that up is specifically because of the leader, who is like very, very clearly on the nose as being representative, but of other tyrants. But I do like this tender moment of the doctor who has learned about the personality, the heart, the soul of Janet, and how he still has compassion and wants to help, but there is a handicap. They do refer to it as being a handicap. And yeah, I think that there is a representation of empathy from medical caregivers that occurs in this. And that's why, like, when I said that I was just waiting for the O. Henry, the presentation of the show itself, it does bring tension. They did go out of their way to have sort of pleasing voices. If you couldn't see their faces, then their voices should sound reassuring and bring out a lot that their facial expressions wouldn't be able to provide. And so I do think that this episode succeeds. By no means do I want to poo-poo this. I think it does really, really great, and it deserves to permeate pop culture. It's great.
And that's great that you noticed that, because the director very specifically wanted the hospital staff to have sympathetic voices, and so he hired people strictly on how they sounded, and so rather than how they look, except for, of course, the one that we want to see later. Yeah, the lady. And so I guess we don't have to read this. It's just it's very good though. Maybe just read this one line. No, I mean deeper than that, because he's talking about the woman. Yeah, there you go.
Well, no, but I think that the context of starting at the beginning is interesting.
Okay, go for it.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. But you see, nurse, I've looked underneath those bandages.
So have I. It's horrible.
No, I mean deeper than that. Deeper than that pitiful, twisted lump of flesh. Deeper than that misshapen skeletal mask. I've seen that woman's real face, nurse. The face of her real self. It's a good face. It's a human face.
I understand, but I must confess, it's easier for me to think of her as a human when her face is covered up.
But why? Why must we feel that way, nurse? What is the dimensional difference between beauty and something repellent? Is it skin deep? Oh, less than that. Why, nurse? Why shouldn't people be allowed to be different? Why?
Doctor, careful what you're talking is.
I know. Treason.
Oh, this case has upset your balance, your sense of values.
Well, I suppose. Don't be concerned, nurse. I'll be all right once the bandages are off. Once I know one way or the other.
Ooh. And so this is definitely like 1984. The doctor has seen the light that the state is wrong to ostracize people for their looks, but he's not really ready to start a rebellion at this point.
Well, I don't
Or
think anybody wants to.
no.
Like I think that you can have gleam of humanity in an oppressive regime, and say what why? It's kind of like, and this is going to get gruesome, and I'm going to try and be as gentle as possible. But it's kind of like at the beginning of that movie 300, where like you talk about the Spartans, and then if there was a child with a malady, and it was like throw it over the cliff. It has no place in our society. It's genetically inferior, and that kind of thing. Like this would be, and it speaks to genetic engineering. It's like, oh, we can make it. Your mom had asthma, but we can genetically alter it so that they don't have asthma. And it's like Gattaca to a certain extent as well. If you could create a class structure based on physical immutability, then it can be terrifying, because you've committed no crime except for being born different. And I think that's what the doctor is saying, which it does strike a chord.
And I think it's implied that Klingons do that too. But
Yeah, I don't
and
know, smooth
sometimes,
heads and ridged.
well, if you really want to get controversial, sometimes it happens in the womb too, where a doctor
Oh
can
yeah.
find Down syndrome and gives the lady a choice, and sometimes the doctor's wrong, and
Mm.
and and you have to make that kind of crazy decision. And I don't exactly want to spark that debate, but that's my choice to do that, to go
Well,
that far.
but it's an interesting conversation, and nor do I have a definitive answer, nor do I think it's my place to have one. But there is that fear that
Hmm.
all right, this is going to be a very, very difficult life for your child, or for someone who has just died, like the mother died in childbirth and the father's nowhere around, and then all of a sudden they're missing they have too many toes, or they don't have enough toes. I'm trying to stay as vanilla as possible in this, but like, yeah, who is to judge what is normal, what is right? And I think that's an interesting, this is a heightened perception of that, but I think it's valid. It's a
Yeah,
valid
definitely.
question as to who gets to
and
choose.
and that's actually what makes this a really wonderful episode, is because you can take it in any direction, and
Mhm.
you can be as playful with it, or you can get as serious with it as you want. And yeah, and in this particular society, you're too ugly, you can either you got to go to Ugly Town.
Won't you take me to Ugly Town? Won't you take me to Ugly Town? There you go. Just a little disco
Yeah.
for Tuesday afternoon.
Thank you. The 60s were so naive and romantic. They made an episode for isolating people from society. If they made it nowadays for a specific vaccine, they would have sent her face to the execution squad. Yeah, that's the odd thing about this episode, and we'll get there when we get there. But try to avoid that. They try to avoid any allusions to execution because they in this particular episode refuse her that option.
They do. She does say, "Can't I just?" Well, she not in so many words, but she does request, "Can't I just die?" And it's like, no, we can't. So say what you will about the society and their segregation and congregation, is that at least they are not so far gone as, well, by the end of the episode, it seems like they are.
They are. I think that
euthanasia.
I think the whole avoiding of that is to give themselves moral superiority, like a pat on the back, like, oh, we're not exterminating, we're just putting them over here. And so they, I think they just do that to make themselves feel better, and not because it's in the best interest of the people that they are subjugating.
Sanctuary district.
Yeah. And so now the leader is about to be on television, so they're going to and just like 1984, as mentioned in the chat, there are TVs everywhere showing the leader.
I do like when the leader shows up and it is sort of an establishing shot for far away, and it's like, oh, why can't we see his face? Because again, I know, watching this, I know what's going to happen, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. But when you watch like any sort of leader's address, it always starts in a wide shot because we've got to see how big those crowds are, and we want to see all the stuff in the background. But then as the speech would continue, then you push in for the close-ups so that you can get the gestures and the facial expressions of the leader. But yeah, I was like, okay, I'll let this slide. Establishing shot of the might of our leader.
Yes. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our leader.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. See, and that's the thing. His voice, like right off the hop, it's like, oh no, he's evil. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I shall talk to you about glorious conformity. I can't, not with a straight face. This is so cartoonish. About the delight and the ultimate pleasure of our unified society. I'll get you next time, catch it. I am totally taking the piss out of this. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. No, this leader is exactly as you
he's a Bond villain.
Describe him.
Oh no, he's Stalin, he's Mussolini, he's other people who have small mustaches.
He's all of them, yeah, all together.
He's all of them rolled into one, and he's saying no fuggos. Anyway,
that's right. Well, I will protect you from the ugly people.
I will make it so that you will feel comfortable in movie theaters.
So the doctor's going to remove the bandages and says, "Don't be violent, don't throw a tantrum." And so they take off the bandages slowly so she can adjust to the light. And they start to, there's the anesthetic just in case she does have a tantrum.
And now we will discuss the location of your hidden rebel base.
She describes the colors as she sees as they go through the layers. Except that they just say what she just says one color. She says gray, and then she talks about the light getting brighter, and we get to see what she sees. And I was wondering how they did that, and I found, and it's in the Twilight Zone companion. So they're unraveling, and how they did it was with the fishbowl. So Clemens got a fishbowl. Who's saying this? Hayes. Yeah, Doug says. And hung it in front of the camera and wrapped the fishbowl. So the lens was shooting from inside the fishbowl, And when the bandages were unwrapped over the fishbowl, you saw layer by layer beginning to get less and less until you could see the outlines. And that's also what she says. She says she could see his outline, and he's going to remove the last layer. And apparently they worked on this until midnight to finish this shot for this day. She wonders if she's still ugly, whether this is where she asks if she can be terminated, where she can delete herself rather than go to prison. And no, that's rejected.
Her perceived prison.
Right. And so we finally get the reveal.
Excuse me, I have to step away for a second before you go see the pig people. I have no
stomach
for this.
Wait, are you actually going?
I do. I have to double check on something. I have a plumber coming, but I just want to, Okay. I just have to go double check and see if they're here. I'll be back in approximately 30 seconds.
Great. So that 70s rock fan is here? Really? It's Joe Notespot saying to subscribe to that 70s rock fan. So I'm putting them all in one place. It just makes getting rid of them in a more permanent way easier, says Mage Media Musing. Whoa, that is wow. Mage Media is a good supervillain. I didn't consider that, especially since this particular society, while they will ostracize you and kick you out of society, they don't want to kill you. And more like direct correlation to the Fuhrer, says Sigvaldison. Yes, exactly. I think we listed all of them. Mage says moose and squirrel. Oh, okay. The NSDAP wanted confirmative with German blood. I wonder if this was loosely dealing with that history. Yeah, this is definitely analogy for any kind of eugenics.
Well, and also it does, I think that it does sort of mildly sidestep a lot of contemporary criticism with the closing narration.
Yeah. Those needles hurt. I'm scared of them. Oh, DJ Knight does not like needles.
I just don't look at them when I'm being punctured.
Oh yeah, I know. I donate blood occasionally, and I always close my eye. Like, okay, I'm trying
to look away.
Person. Okay, so
no change.
And Greek Letters Larson says eugenics were implemented in the USA. You're specifically talking about people going to court, and they did kind of have, and they were sentenced to being too stupid or something. There was something like that, and then they would be euthanized, like not euthanized, but what's the other one where you're made to sterilize?
Sterilization. Yeah,
that's it. They were sterilized.
Well, it's funny that a person with Greek letters would attribute any sort of culling of a genetic herd on the United States. I believe it happened a couple thousand years before the United States existed. So there is that. The fact that if you were born, again, too many toes, not enough toes, get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. Again, so eugenics were
Sparta. It wasn't. Humanity did not start in trying to alter the course of humanity in, when was Independence Day in the United States? When was that?
1776.
Yeah, it didn't start then.
Yeah, no, it started before that. So the U.S. was not the first, but it did happen before World War II. And,
oh sure.
But So the
Let's
scissors are dropped. Everyone is horrified
see. And
by her. She's
obviously,
beautiful.
the people who are trying to fix this woman were not fans of the Beverly Hillbillies.
And this, of course, is before the Beverly Hillbillies. So actually, there were two actresses who played the woman with the bandages. Maxine Stewart was underneath the bandages, and this is Donna Douglas for the unmasking. And so
Which is,
originally,
yeah, please.
wait, which is what?
Well, I was just going to say that while we are discussing the virtues of this episode, the woman who was beneath the bandages was obviously not attractive enough to have her face revealed. And so the episode itself in its production is making a commentary on, sorry, lady, you're too fugly. We need someone prettier up here.
She was
So
very specifically a radio actress.
Oh, was it because of her
Maxine
voice?
Stewart.
That explains that explains. Well, and so did Donna Douglas do the voiceover? Like, did she do the ADR?
So what happened was originally Donna's voice was going to be overdubbed by Stewart's voice so that they would have the same voice. But okay, so it's either a coincidence that Donna's voice was so similar to Stewart's that they kept it. But then there's another quote that I found that says that Donna Douglas was listening to Maxine Stewart and adopted her intonations. So whether it was by talent or by nature or both, they didn't have to do any dubbing.
Well, that's good then. Then I suppose that my criticism of her acting style is unwarranted. Hey, Classic Comics.
I didn't know Donna Douglas was under the bandages.
She wasn't.
Well, she was in the unmasking scene, but then most of the time it was Maxine Stewart. Yes. And there's more here. But I'm looking to see how I want to express it. Hayes cast her because of her voice. Okay, so this is Maxine Stewart talking. Because her voice did not suggest a beautiful girl. It suggested a strong, harsh, realistic woman, and therefore the unveiling would be a surprise. Oh, no, that's Hayes actually talking. Now it's Maxine Stewart talking. It's absolutely right for Hollywood to do a script about conformity and then demand that your leading lady conform to a standard of beauty. I do understand that, though. They were saying something. They wanted a really beautiful beauty to point up the difference. So Stewart understood why they made this choice. And she actually found it a delight. The fact that her entire head was covered and she couldn't see the other actors. She said it was heaven, she says. It was like I was in my little womb. I was acting all alone. I didn't have to be bothered with all those others. And Douglas Hayes enjoyed her performance. And that her hands were terribly expressive. And of course, this is Donna Douglas. And of course, she is going to go on to the Beverly Hillbillies, as everyone has mentioned. She's not yet known to anybody, but she was absolutely beautiful, says Hayes. So I said, you'll have a few lines, but later Maxine Stewart will dub them in her voice. And it turned out that Donna was a very good actress. And she hung around during the entire performance, the playing of scenes under bandages. And when it came to the time that she was unveiled, she had these words to say. She did them so accurately in the same voice that we never dubbed her.
Great.
Yeah, but so in the story, she promised to panic, but she does anyway. But she says, Donna Douglas says, I was a newcomer from New York. They were looking for a woman of exceptional beauty, and they picked me. Looking back, I can express how proud I was to be a part of that show. It was fascinating how they put that together. The flesh-colored makeup on the nurses and the doctors, they put makeup on me too, but I don't know why, since I was supposed to be under the bandages. I don't know why they had someone different underneath the bandages. I would have done that. I guess it was the woman's voice they were going after, but I had the same voice.
But also, like, I think it is, I don't know how old Donna Douglas was in this performance. Obviously, it was before Beverly Hillbillies. But the thing is that with a more expressive physical actor, like that's a different skill set than someone. Obviously, you can still be physical in your performance. You can still be vocal in your performance. But just in terms of being able to convey it and express it outwardly, maybe such a young woman wouldn't. And I don't know what her career was before that. All of this is speculation, and I don't really know what I'm talking about. But if you're a regular viewer here, then you knew that. So, but it's just like, I don't know. Maybe she just wasn't what they wanted in terms of being very over the top to make it so that it would be captured on film. Whereas
Yeah, they want the
half of the
contrast.
and then half the performance is when you do, like, honestly, when she is unveiled, when she's unmasked, she does give a couple of those sort of beauty shots to the camera. She doesn't act as if she's horrified, or she doesn't act as if she is ugly. She acts as if she is trying to express her beauty to whoever is looking at her. And I thought, I was just like, that's not a person who's afraid of how they look. That is a person who knows how to get away with being good looking. And so and it's only brief, it's only my impression. In fact, I am the eye of the beholder in this particular opinion. And that's where I think that having that differential is it was good. I think it was effective for the piece.
Mm. I don't know. I think she acted like she thought that she was ugly. She was trying to hide her face a bit.
Yeah.
Um,
There's something about the way that she looks at a couple of people, and I'm just like, don't you think I'm pretty? And
well,
maybe
okay.
that's
I think
part of the
they
character.
did. I think that, but that's also they did want to make sure that she did get that close up and that the audience could see.
Well, and also for the audience to receive it, you have
Mm.
to behold, again, I'm just going to keep using the title because it's a brilliant title. You have to
Yes.
behold her beauty and say, I don't understand why everybody was talking about how not attractive she was, how an abomination she was. Whereas
Yes.
you do need that contrast and you need that shock from the audience because you've been reeling and preparing yourself or steeling yourself against whatever horrible things were going to happen. And then you find out that it's everybody else who is a melted waxwork.
Yes, and that's what Greek letter says. So if she's pretty, but the others find her ugly, that means that the others, yeah,
Are
like
pretty.
we've been saying, are pig people. Yeah, these
Well,
are the normal people. They they're standard on this planet. This is the standard beauty of the planet. And people who look like us are the outcasts, the deformed, and the undesirables.
well, not us, not you and I, not anyone else in the audience. The people who are here, we're all very good looking. Your audience is very good looking, I have to say.
Yes, that's true. So I might have to
Jill,
step away for a few
don't.
minutes, but
Oh, okay, but when you get back, I get to have a cigarette.
okay. Wait, what did you say?
I said,
What were we?
don't call the audience ugly.
I didn't.
Okay. Was that
Oh,
me?
well,
Did I do that?
if we no, I did do that. If we lived on the world with the pig people, we would be considered ugly.
We would. Earth is the village.
Mhm. Oh, Earth is a village all along. It was Earth all along. Crap.
Oh my gosh, I was wrong. It was Earth all along. Well, you finally made me fugly. Yes, you finally made me fugly. Sorry, I'm appropriating a Simpsons song.
Yes, and so there's also the problem with making this makeup because they're always worried about the budget. So what happened was Hayes had experience with this. He said I had started as a cartoonist at Walt Disney's and had been an art editor when we did those faces for Eye of the Beholder, Tuttle had just done the Time Machine, and he had created
Ooh.
those Morlocks. So when he told me the problem as far as the cost, I went down to his department and I saw some of the pieces, and he had put the Morlocks together. And I said, Bill, why can't we do something like this just to make some pieces and paste them on? So I'm needed. I'm going to talk a little
Yeah.
bit more about the makeup when I get back.
Okay.
So don't get
See you soon.
Okay, see you in a bit.
Okay. Hey, look who it is. Booger. I can't play. Oh, no, sure I can. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, so many things happening at the same time. Where'd it go? Come on. Anyway, please, I apologize. This position was thrust upon me. And yes, I understand. I enjoy saying the word thrust. Let me see. I am looking for Booger. Here we are. Booger! Thank you so much. I love legitimate theater. True story. Greek letters, you say, looks like bacon is back on the menu, boys. Yeah, no, these guys, they do look like the orcs from Lord of the Rings somewhat. I was thinking that they kind of looked like, the Vogons from the new Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie with Martin Freeman. They kind of look because of the pig noses. But yeah, hey, DJ Knight's here. Hey, what's going on, DJ Knight? Thank you so much for keeping Penny company. It's great. And and this is also Entropy Manor, who says in the chat, casting someone with severe burn injuries under the bandages would have had a weird shift on the overall tone, really. Well, and not only that, but I was surprised to find out in terms of the production that they had been in full makeup for the direction. Although I understand it because of, if you're directing it, you should know what you're avoiding to capture. And so having them in their pig people facial prosthetics makes sense, because then you know how to move the camera, you know how to block. I was surprised because I was looking for shadows, and yeah, they're there. They're definitely there. And then also one of the things someone said in the chat, how difficult it would be to smoke a cigarette underneath the bandages. I'm looking at these faces being like, that's going to be a difficult way to smoke a cigarette. But at the very end, and it almost reminds me of something from They Live, where all the aliens are exposed to be fugly people. And there are aliens and humans sort of hitting on each other and engaging in courting rituals and whatnot. And I was like, oh yeah, no, seeing these ugly people engage in the romantic dance, if you will, and I don't mean coitus, but like that's something that you do. Like, these people do find each other attractive. This is the norm. And so I did appreciate that being added into the storytelling, and it was just visual. It wasn't told to you. You may not have seen it, but your brain did, to quote Mike, and many others. Oh heavens, what to do? Yeah, like I would, if I were in control of the poll. Wait a second, I got to figure out phrasing. I would ask. I would do 3 people. I would be like Donna Douglas, Barbara Eden, Elizabeth Montgomery. Which one? Which one would you prefer under the brandage or the brandages? There we are. Oh, and that's not a bad thing. Well, no, it is a bad thing. Have you ever tried it? It's terrible. Maybe Greek letters says maybe they smoke the cigarettes through their nostrils. That is no way. First things first, you can't put that in a magazine ad in 1960. You're sitting there snorting, burning tobacco. Gavin says they look like local people from the League of Gentlemen. Oh, dude, you know what, Gavin? I haven't seen the League of Gentlemen. People have told me about the League of Gentlemen. I but I haven't seen it. I've heard about it. Gavin Blackburn says, ugly sods. True story. Pete G is saying, is having the top lip of the left or right kind of like being right or left-handed? I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the feeding process. I don't know what these people eat. I was actually rather taken by how low or maybe how large the upper lip was, because these people do not necessarily have chins to say. Like, it's just so strange. It is with their sagging eyes, and like they've got Emperor Palpatine eyes, they got pig noses, they've got that permanent sneer, and they've got like pack lead bags going on their cheeks that go down to their shoulders. Like, it's not that far, but I'm being hyperbolic. This is I think that this is incredible. I think that this does convey not only an ugliness, but also, well, everybody is unique, but they all have the same attributes. It's great. It's great.
It does work, and yeah, so each actor brings their own features, and then it gets covered up by this stuff. And so and they put it on there. So the companion talks a little more about it, about how they achieved this.
Well, and Booger says, does anyone wonder about what this episode says about the lack of surgical skills? Once I see the medical professionals, I'm like, oh no, it makes sense, because when you're doing sort of reconstructive surgery or cosmetic surgery, it is far easier to take away than to add. And considering how Donna Douglas looks, you'd have to add stuff, and it would just, I don't think it would last. I think it would probably last about 7 years, and then it would fall off, and then what do you got? You got your same old fugly Donna Douglas face.
That the episode did mention that plastic surgery was not possible in this instance for her because of her structure. And so, but how the makeup was made was Tuttle and Hayes worked together. Doug came up and got his fingers into the clay. Tuttle remembers we'd model some things, and then he'd take a look and offer some suggestions, and it sort of evolved from that. The idea was to make them look like pigs with big nostrils and the pig-like nose. And Hayes says the most important thing about that group of people was that although they had to look slightly different, they had to conform, they had to be the same species. They couldn't all be different monsters. We didn't take masks of each one, but we took 3 or 4 different ones and modeled them so they looked different. And before they cast the people, we tried them on, see if one would fit another one. In other words, we didn't have to do 12 different ones. And one thing I like is the more distortion you get, the better. And so Hayes was glad. Originally, they were going to do complete makeups on everything, and it was actually better not to, because the individual characteristics of the actors could still show up. Their cheekbones, their jawlines, their ears. Another thing is that by doing that, I was able to photograph the backs of their heads and ears and things like that, which were perfectly normal. It was only the front that looked different. And so that's how we get these faces. And so, of course, the patient runs away. We see the leader and his face up close. So earlier, as Scotty was mentioning, we get a far away shot of the leader with the audience and everything. But here we're going to get to see him a little bit up close, more up close. And speaking of close-ups, here's a bunch of close-ups of those faces in case you didn't get a good look at them a minute ago. Here they are a little closer, done a little more closely. Probably indicated their politics. Wow, that's very well subtle. Glove cleaner. If they get hurt, do they run around squealing? I don't know. I don't know. Nobody gets harmed in the making of this episode. Nobody harmed the pig people. That's a good question. It looks like the lip is based on a cleft lip. Yes, I think, yeah, that's very astute. I wonder if the standard was made because the leader was born deformed and everyone had to conform to that. Well, I think that this is just the way that the people look in this planet, and to look like us is a genetic malady. I don't think I think these people just evolved this way, and it wasn't something that happened because the leader was also that way. Maybe they come from Great Britain with those stiff upper lips. Oh no. I don't know if I should have read that one. What about those of us who were born left and right-handed? Oh yeah, that is something. Yeah, if you're left-handed, most of the world is right-handed. Most of the world is made for right-handed people, so you have to adapt to the way things are, or go to the left-hand store. I mean, we don't send people to left-hand prison, but you do have to live in a right-handed world. Pete G, the interjections were probably genetic therapy or something, and she was resistant to it. Oh yeah, that's a good guess. That's a good theory. I haven't really considered what the injections might be to change her, but genetic alterations would make sense since surgical options are not possible. But they never say exactly what they inject her with. They never bother with dealing with that portion of the science fiction. Good makeup for the time. Yeah, absolutely. Really, really well done. Really well done stuff.
Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin.
Oh yeah, Gavin asked if when the pig people are harmed, do they squeal?
You know, it was so reading the original production. That was something that Rod Serling was like, "Oh, just have them say ouch."
Yeah. So, oh my goodness. Okay, are you ready to be the leader again?
I'm ready to be the leader again.
Okay, there you are.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Right, glorious conformity, yada, yada, yada. We know that there must be a single purpose, a single norm, a single approach, a single entity of people, a single virtue, a single morality, a single frame of reference, a single philosophy of government. We must cut out all that is different, like a cancerous filth. It is essential in this society that we not only have a norm, but that we conform to that norm. Differences weaken us. Variations destroy us. This norm is what has ended nations and brought them to their knees. Conformity is the norm. Or something like that. A little loud. Sorry. But the guy is adamant. Conformity is the key to survival.
There it is. That's good enough. Very nice. So, living in this type of dystopia would be pretty terrifying if this is what you get to watch on TV.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it.
No. Forcing others to conform to your standards, it's horrific. And yeah, just going around persecuting people because of their appearance, that doesn't seem like a good way to live.
Scott, why do you have to swear so much? Why do you have to day drink? Jeez, don't you want to conform? Don't you want to be a part of everybody else? No.
Well, it would be nice if you didn't
It
daydream.
would be nice if I conformed, wouldn't it?
Yeah, why don't you conform, Scott? Conforming is the key to survival. Oh no! Wait a minute. All the hospital staff watch her go bananas, and she ends up going exactly where she's supposed to be, running right into another one who's like her, who also has her sad lot in life to be absolutely grotesque.
But it is a nice, like, dramatic touch that when people do see
And the
Janet,
cigarette.
there's the cigarette. Yeah. But they do see her and they do respond as if, what the hell is that? Looks like one of us, but is her nose.
Who got released from the zoo?
Yeah.
And here's another who's going to take her to the zoo. And of course, just like her, a very handsome young man who will show her around the Ugly People Village.
Is that the name of it?
No, but that's what I named it. What else
All right.
would it be named? His name
Actually,
is
the name of the Ugly People Village is Cleveland.
his name is Mr. Walter Smith. And he assures her that when she gets there to the village, she'll begin to feel a sense of belonging and she will be loved.
I wonder if they sedate the people of the village.
Oh, so just so that they don't know where they're going? Or...
No, but just something that is introduced into the population, because again, we've seen the authoritarian perspective of the leader. But like, what if they put placating chemicals into the water, like fluoride
or soma?
I don't know what that is.
Well, it's a pretend drug from Brave New World.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it's it makes you not care.
I already have that. They legalized marijuana in Canada for just that very reason.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, this episode is really fantastic to me. It's really etched right into my soul. It's really great, and it's really wonderful to talk about. You can have any kind of debate with it and expand on it.
Yes.
And anything. I do wonder about that village, but we don't actually get to see the village. We just hear about it. We don't know how nice or how terrible it is. I mean, if it's a nice prison or an ugly one.
Gilded cages are still cages.
Yes. And so here's the closing narration. Now
they all look
the
like
question.
Sydney Sweeney.
Oh God. Now the questions that come to mind. Where is this place? And when is it? What kind of world where ugliness is the norm and beauty the deviation from that norm? You want an answer? The answer is it doesn't make any difference. Because the old saying happens to be true. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder in this year or 100 years hence. On this planet, or wherever there is human life, perhaps out there amongst the stars, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Lesson to be learned in the Twilight Zone. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So.
So yeah.
And yeah.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Yep.
I know we're not
Absolutely.
rating,
Well,
but in terms of
yeah.
influence and impact.
It is very meaningful, but there was a problem in San Francisco where Serling got a letter from somebody concerning a commercial that they put on daytime television, including monsters from this Twilight Zone and the devil from the Howling Man and Nick of Time. The commercial was shown at the end of children's television programs in the morning and during a circus show in the evening. And as a result of viewing this macabre presentation, my son has various nightmares involving these horrible faces and is frightened in his room at night with the lights off. He says he's afraid of those people and describes the commercial. The letter was forwarded to Serling, and he explained that the Twilight Zone is scheduled for 10 o'clock Friday evenings, a time frame designed for adult viewing, without my knowledge and certainly without my support. Film clips of this program have been shown as promotional material during the daylight hours. I deeply regret that this has been the case, but unfortunately have no control whatsoever over the network's promotional planning and programming. Please accept my apologies for this. I'm sending you a copy letter to my network here to the network here on the coast in the hopes that this particular film clip will be taken out of use during the daylight hours.
Rod Serling was an incredible creative force, but also certainly an incredible marketer. He was deft at promotion. And while I understand his response to an angry letter from San Francisco, which was the internet of its time, was angry letters from San Francisco, I have always subscribed to, oh, I'm sorry. Was your child watching television unattended? Yeah, that's not on me. That's on you. And again, this is the same time that there were advertisements for cigarettes during the Flintstones. Recently, I saw a controversy. Apparently, there was some Pride Month propaganda that people were decrying, and I used the word propaganda qualifiedly as saying that it was to influence people, but it's at its most egregious, it asks the audience to ask questions, and it is up to parents to parent. And if the realities of planet Earth happen to crash into the perception that young people have of the world, then it is the responsibility of parents to explain what that situation is. So I don't know if something is terrifying, like, look, Doctor Who, bunch of salt and pepper shakers, we're going to make people hide behind in 2 years' time after the broadcast of this. Like, if it's too terrifying or too, and I guess
Bollocks are salt and pepper shakers.
Well, come on. If you look at Daleks, don't they look like salt and pepper shakers? That's at their best representation. The others make it so that they're part of the Third Reich. But like, these things are, it is your responsibility to see what is being consumed by your children. And
yes, that is true.
To blame the broadcast means to blame a rainy day on meteorologists.
Yeah. And it's a good moment to teach your children about reality versus fiction, and that the pig monsters are not going to eat you at night.
Right.
So there's a makeup artist called Rick Baker who worked on movies like An American Werewolf in London, 1981, and Greystoke in 1984. I knew something was wrong with my pronunciation, but it's just a weird name.
I'm trying to help.
And he was influenced by this episode. He viewed the telecast at the age of 15, and he managed to reproduce the same makeup from this episode at some point. I don't know for what reason, but he's a big fan apparently. And it's in I'm reading that from the Twilight Zone Unlocking the Door to a Television Classic by Grams Jr. Martin.
Yeah, Rick
Greek
Baker
letter.
is pioneer.
Yeah. Mhm. And this is where he was influenced as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I read that one already, unfortunately.
What are you talking about?
The glove cleaner says, "What about those of us who were born left and right-handed?" Oh yeah, I read that one earlier too and talked about it.
Ambidextrous. One of my favorite words.
Yeah. We've always been at war with the big bad wolf. Says Peachy, really playing into the 1984 reference and the fact that the people look like pigs. That's hilarious. Yes, we've always been at war with the big bad wolf.
Well, not at war.
true.
Some of us are collaborators. Some of us want the release of the Eldridge God. Siggy.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Shout out to you, sir.
Oh, and it could also be a Doctor Who reference.
Yeah.
Surmises Matchy. Boat pig, says Gavin. Oh yeah, the leader. That's his name too. Little pig, let me in.
Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin.
Green
Have you ever
Jello.
seen that music video? It's really great.
No, not green Jello. Maybe
Jelly.
they're deformed
Yeah.
faces. Greek letters. Maybe. Wouldn't be terrifying at all. It would be normal, Jill, if you grew up in that.
Yeah.
No
Well,
recognizable flags behind the ruler. This isn't Earth.
Yeah, I think Gavin, I understand what you're saying, but I think you're taking it too literally. I think that there is something here where this could have been. Oh my gosh, I was wrong. It was Earth.
Well, if it is Earth, it's a different time.
Yeah, but ultimately it doesn't matter, as Rod said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I wonder what those faces would look like in color, right? Yeah, that would be interesting. That moron smokes in a hospital? Yeah, they used to smoke in hospitals a long time ago.
I've smoked in a hospital before.
Wait.
Legally.
Jeez, you could smoke in a hospital and no one would have a problem with that?
There were
Now,
smoking rooms.
That flux
Yeah.
capacitor. Like the planet Miranda that ended up with the Reavers due to the drugs to placate people. Serenity Firefly reference. Oh, I need to rewatch Firefly.
Yeah, me too.
Like
little teaser for what's
soon.
happening in June. It is June. We actually have
Oh,
to get
it is
on
June.
this show.
Oh, yeah, we got to get to work.
Yeah.
My current desktop pick is the Fort Mercer flag. In black and white, it would be nearly identical in color, just recognizable for sci-fi. By ugly, I mean good luck, Dogsville. Dogsville for the for the ugly people village.
Well, in classic comics, I think I wanted just that one. I wanted one acknowledgement or one sort of nod towards Janet from the Doctor. I wanted the Doctor to be like, Janet, I want you to know I think you're beautiful. Or something like that, but maybe that would be tantamount to treason.
Exactly. He couldn't do that because that would be treason.
And he was surrounded by a bunch of other piggy people.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Maybe he can say that in the village. And they lived happily ever after away from the society. And also they had an ever steady supply of bacon. Oh, there's another twist we didn't get to see. Booker says, what? I don't think no, I don't either. I think it's just a joke. This is probably one of the most recognizable episodes. Yeah, unforgettable episode.
Mm.
He should have turned up at the kid's house at night, outside the bedroom window, wearing the makeup. Oh, oh, jeez. I do wonder how many people in this. Well, no, they go back to the makeup artist and they take off all the spirit glue or whatever they used to put it on to take it off. So I don't think anybody went home to scare their families. It's San Francisco. No matter how ugly the pig people were, they kept it cleaner than it is today. I think Fred Flintstone was a Chesterfield man, says the glove
Nah, it was
cleaner.
Winston's. Thanks, Glove Cleaner. Everybody else knows. We watched it here on this channel before. We're not going to
Yeah, I
watch it
have
now.
it.
Yeah.
No, not now. Maybe later. The Daleks are super frightening until you get to the stairs.
What was it? But it was like Sylvester McCoy. It was Sylvester McCoy era that the Daleks could work the stairs. They had little booster rockets. So even back in the classic Who era, Daleks could work stairs. I think. I'm
Oh,
not
so
sure.
they didn't have to fly.
Well, they did fly. They had just like little hovers. Like they shot rockets out of their bases, I think.
Oh, neat. Huh. Okay. The band changed their name from Green Jelly. Wait, the band changed their name to Green Jelly from Green Jello after a threatened copyright strike. Oh, right, because Jello is
A
copyrighted.
copy, yeah. But I think that the way that they got away from that is that they put an umlaut over the O so that it would mess with the pronunciation of Jello to jelly or some such nonsense. But yeah, no, they did. That's why it's kind of, yeah, no, Booger, you're on the trolley. You're on the level.
PG asks, does anyone have the Dalek salt and pepper shakers? Makes
I
sense to me,
used to.
does.
I used to. Actually, it wasn't salt and pepper. It was the TARDIS was a sugar pot for tea or coffee, and then the Dalek was a receptacle for milk or cream, depending on tea or coffee. But yeah, no, I did have that. I think I lost it, but whatever. I still have the TARDIS, so happiness pie.
Mm.
Meanwhile, next week on the Twilight Zone.
Okay, so we've got Don and Pat. They're towed. They're towed. They got a problem with their car, and so the Nick of Time first aired on November 18th, 1960. It was written by Richard Matheson and directed by Richard L. Baer. And so I've got a book here and I haven't been able to look at it yet. And I like to look at the books, so let's see if there's something. And so he says Matheson got this idea from when his wife and him were in a coffee shop, and there was this little fortune telling machine that answered yes or no. And so I just thought, oh, that's an interesting idea. You know, most of them the derivation is something you read. With me, it's mostly something I see in the movies. If it's a lousy movie, I don't leave, which I should, but my mind drifts. And something that I see may just trigger an alternative idea. And Matheson put a few pennies into the machine, and the predictions gave the impression of coming true. The art department added the devil's head for effect, as it was not described in the original script. And Matheson was paid $2,000 for the rights. That's not bad. And so it was, yeah. So did you find the camera was kind of shaky at the very beginning of this episode? Did you notice that? I didn't. I didn't know if that was going to mean anything, but it didn't. I think it was just a mistake.
I didn't notice a lot about the cinematography because I was very preoccupied paying attention to these attractive people.
Oh, that's true. Okay. After the pig people,
Actually,
it was very nice to see. They have good chemistry. I really buy that they're a married couple. They're really cute.
yeah, they're cute and flirty. And the thing is that I did enjoy, and this is something that I didn't do any research for, ladies and gentlemen, is I love the outdoor set, probably a back lot, not a location. This could be when the weirdos come to Johnson Street or whatever that episode was called.
Oh, it
And
might be. I don't know.
well, no, but that was a
I
residential
didn't read.
area. This was a downtown area. This, I don't know. This could be Hill Valley for all I know.
I didn't get a
But
chance to read the unlocking the door for this, so I'm looking at it now to see where it was.
yeah, Gavin's got it going on. Gavin says Shatner's machismo was affecting the camera. There were vibrations coming off of a young Bill. So yeah, no, I'm with you on that one, sir. But yeah, I thought this was again a really well directed episode in terms of how they transitioned in and out of things, like going through. You see that trellis that was a break between the diner. Like I liked how they sort of pan as Dawn and Pat come in, but then it pulls back and you see that there's still a crosshatch. It develops a certain sense of, I don't know if these kids are going to get out of this alive. Like, are they going to be together? And that's where a lot of this tension builds for me, right from the very beginning. Plus, it doesn't hurt to have a Satan head. That also develops a certain level of, trepidation.
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. So it is all about the storytelling here and the actors' performances. It's a very subtle episode. And so there are no fuel pumps in this town that can go in this particular car anyway. So it's going to take 4 hours to get one driven to the town.
Which isn't a
And so,
bad amount of time, by the way.
no, it isn't. It isn't. It's pretty reasonable.
When was the last time
So,
you've had a busted car recently? So have I. Like
well, I
4
just had
hours?
the whole thing replaced, so it wasn't like
Well,
I
so
could go
but could you get
get
a
it
new car
fixed.
in 4 hours?
No, I could,
No.
but no.
Well, if money were no
It takes
object, but unfortunately.
it takes about 12 hours.
Yeah. So while everyone is sitting here and being like, "Oh, I can't believe that they're doing this in 1960," apparently all it takes is 4 hours. Also, the mechanic, you didn't get a slide of the mechanic,
No, I didn't. We'll see
which
him
is
later.
fine. We will see him later, but spoilers, everybody. That's Chief O'Hara from the 1966 Batman television show.
Oh, yeah, we'll get a good close of him later. So please mention it again later.
I will.
So
Oh,
they,
yes.
Don and Pat decide to go get lunch,
Which is a
and
really shitty lunch.
yeah, it's a shitty lunch, but they're even told, the server warns them, "No, man, you should get the chicken fried steak." But anyway, we're jumping ahead again. So Don is hoping for a promotion at work, and his wife believes he's the man for the job, and it's just really cute seeing Captain Kirk settled down and married, and it's really sweet. And they dance, and she reminds them that they came to eat, and they see this fortune telling machine, and they decide to ask the machine. You just ask it a yes or no question. And so he asks his first question: "Does anything exciting ever happen around here?" And the machine says that is quite possible. And then we get the opening narration, which I will read, and Scotty can read the closing. The hand belongs to Mr. Don S. Carter, male member of a honeymoon team en route across the Ohio countryside to New York City. In one moment, they will be subjected to a gift most humans never receive in a lifetime. For 1 penny, they will be able to look into the future. The time is now. The place is a little diner in Ridgeview, Ohio. And what this young couple doesn't realize is that this town happens to lie on the outskirts of the Twilight Zone. And so
And we
I
get
start
Rod Serling on screen.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
sitting in the same diner.
Yeah. We always get Rod Serling on screen for these episodes. I might have missed him. So Oh wait, no I didn't. I
didn't see him in the Fugly episode.
Yeah, I missed the first part of the slides for that, and it was getting late, and I was like, I'm not going back. I'm tired. So I did miss the before the opening line for the slides there. Production information about today's broadcast. There he is. He's sitting there.
That's interesting because he is like, as a smoker, though, like, there's no cigarette there. I'm curious if they edited it out.
No, it's there.
Is it there?
Yeah, or but I didn't get the shot. Okay, I'll tell you where it is. I'll tell you where the cigarette is. It is right behind the fortune machine. You just can't see it. He is smoking.
Okay.
And if you look very carefully, you can see in the atmosphere there's little smoke lines.
Wisps of smoke.
I was like, wow, yeah, I thought the same thing. Where's the cigarette? And there it was there. I just didn't get a screen cap of it. I didn't know it was going to be a topic of conversation.
Well, and also I would like to say that this is something that happened in 1960. Rod Serling is currently 17 years old in this photo.
What? That doesn't make sense.
People looked a lot older is the joke.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Because cigarettes.
Yes.
I get it now.
And bourbon.
And bourbon, cigarettes and bourbon. Right. They started them young back then.
Yeah.
This little fortune telling machine is supposed to actually be accurate, but that's like saying an 8-ball is accurate. And
Magic 8-ball.
And Magic 8-ball, yes.
8-ball is very different. That's a collection of.
Oh. Well, you know what? I would
Shut
not
up,
even
Scott.
think of that. No. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at society. No,
I'll buy you a pearl necklace,
I'm not mad at
Jill.
anybody. No, okay.
Wait. I have the answer to this. Hang on. You keep going. I'll figure it out.
Okay. I'll keep going. Absolutely.
Right.
They both order sandwiches and an iced coffee. And Don is asking the machine whether or not he's going to be promoted. It has been decided in your favor. And so that's good news. If, like Serling says, the predicting machine actually shows the future, the mystic seer. Given this answer by the mystic seer, Don wants to call his office to see if he has the job.
Sorry. It's my ringtone.
Oh, it is your ringtone for real?
No, not really. No.
Okay. So, but don't forget, I have a better one.
No, I know, but I didn't want to play the whole thing. You don't have to play the whole thing.
Well, you can just click on the video you could click off of it if you don't want to play the whole thing. Clicking on the video doesn't mean you have to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's over. I think the moment passed.
Well, I wasn't asking for it now. I just mean fair. In the future.
In future reference, yes, thank you.
Oh, I was trying to do something.
Sorry.
And, well, no, it's not your fault.
Well, it kind of is. I disrupted everything as usual.
No, you're perfectly fine. I was trying. Oh, yes, here's what I was trying to do. There's commands and pre-made commands. 8 ball. Magic 8 ball. Yeah. Okay. So apparently, I want to try this. Exclamation point 8 ball.
It is decidedly so.
Yeah. Let me see if this works.
All right.
I don't
Ladies and
know.
gentlemen,
I've never
we are
used
testing
this.
out a brand new technology. It's called the Magic 8 Ball, and everyone loves it.
Okay. Okay, so well, I got 2 magic 8 balls. Uh-oh.
Hang
The
on.
street elements and the the Jill Notes bot both have one. So I said, "Do you accurately predict the future?" to the 8 ball. The Stream Elements bot says the 8 ball says yesterday would have been a yes, but today it's a yep. And and the magic 8 ball says signs point to yes. They both say yes. So anyway, that's always been a thing you could do in my chat. I need to turn off one of them because I can't have 2 8 balls.
If you happen to
Magic
have an
8
extra 8
balls.
ball, send one to me. Not the magic kind, and also not across borders.
Mages Media says I should get a sarcastic 8 magic 8 ball, but no, I got to turn off the other one. Jill will okay. Anyway, I'll do that later. So if you use the
good.
8 balls right now, you get 2 answers. So that'll be confusing. So probably don't use it right now. So now he wants to call his company to see if he got the job. And it's an old-timey phone, so he has to talk to the operator to get the number to call. And so he got the job. He finds out that he does get the job, and it's very sweet. The person does easy hugs her. And we do see that Pat has her own little rabbit's foot for good luck with a four-leaf clover at the other end. So she does have an element of superstition within her, which Pat, even though she doesn't really believe in this machine, as we find out throughout the episode, she does still have a rabbit's foot.
I was always, you know what, I was trying to figure out whether or not that was Pat or if that was just something that she subscribed to because of Dawn. Because even later, it's like, oh, like when they leave, it's like, oh, it's like being married to an alcoholic, but instead of bottles in the chandelier, which, by the way, not a great place to put your beer or bottles, any kind of inebriant. Don't put it next to a light source. It's not gonna taste good. And I thought that it was always something that she had absorbed or adhered to. Like she subscribed to it now because Dawn subscribed to it because he cops to it later and says, "Oh, I'm the superstitious one."
He does. So maybe he gave her that rabbit's foot as a present. Yeah. To pull out anytime they're getting some kind of there's something big happening. And so now you're looking at the world's youngest office manager. And Pat says, "And I'm happy to say I told you so." And and
So
so
is he
has
like 25
he.
here?
Yeah, I guess so. And so she gives him a dime for the jukebox so they could have some success music.
And he plays Glenn Miller. How apropos.
Wait, do you recognize what he plays?
Yeah, it's Glenn Miller.
I didn't know what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. So they're served their sandwich. And the server's gonna be like, "You would have liked the chicken fried steak better." He's still like, you're being served one shitty sandwich. Is it really strange to go to a diner like that? Like, I warned you. And Shatner says, "Oh, we'll bear up." Matt G sends a membership chat, doesn't he? He says,
Cheers.
"A non-Trek Shatner roll. Jill's mind melts." That's fun.
Did your mind
Thank
melt
you.
though?
No, because you told me he was going to be in it, so I wasn't surprised.
I was very much looking forward to this. Yeah.
Hmm. Then he asks the machine, "Is it really going to be 4 hours before we get out of here?" And the machine says, "You may never know." And then he asks, "You mean something will keep us from knowing? If you move soon." And so personally, if I believe this to be a truthful machine that knew the future, and it tells me that I got to hang out at this diner for an hour or an hour or less than an hour, but still almost an hour, and keep buying cups of coffee and tea until the 4 hours are up, so that when I go back to the garage, my car is ready. I don't know. It's you're giving up some of your freedom by listening to this machine, even if you believe it's true.
Well, and yeah, it's a great argument in terms of, oh, Dawn,
Mhm.
why do you want to listen to this thing? It's on every table. Don't you see?
Yeah,
It just
they're
wants you
all
to
the
sit
same.
here and spend money. I don't even know if the key lime pie is good. We just had the sandwiches and the rye
Oh,
bread was stale. Like, there
oh,
is a logical
yeah.
way out of this. I think that this is nothing to do with the little novelty machines. I think that this has
She
everything to
could
do
have
with
freed them.
psychosis.
Yeah, she could have freed them if she would have insisted more, because she wants to get up and leave, and but she, instead of listening to her, says Don asks the machine whether they should stay there, and the machine says that makes a good deal of sense. And he asks if they should stay till 2:30, but the machine says to try again. Then he says 3, and the machine says there's no question about it. So the machine has him, Don, in his grips here, listening to him. And Pat wants to explore the town. Had they done that, they probably would have been okay.
Well, as
It's
long as they use crosswalks, yeah.
yeah,
Their
yeah,
biggest
right.
problem is that they never use a crosswalk.
Yeah, right. All this jaywalking. And if and Don says, "If we don't stay here until 3, something bad will happen to us." And so he's asking the machine again. And Pat reads the answer, "Do you dare risk finding out?" Which is kind of a weird answer for a yes or no question. So Don's superstition isn't out of nowhere, because it is kind of ambiguous whether or not this machine really is responding directly to him personally. The machine says, "Bite me." It says FKHC 2005. So I do have a wheel. We can play video for you. I'll play 2, because I should have played one for Sigvaldison earlier. And so, oh, okay. Here, I know what to do. Let's go to our Star Trek 4 videos. Let's play a few of those.
Whoever said the human race was logical?
That's not the one I wanted. You know what? Let's do this one instead.
No bloody A, B, C, or D.
Let's do another Scotty.
That's green.
It is green.
And so, according to the machine, they need to stick around for another 46 minutes. Pat wants to explore the town, but it looks like Don gets his way. And they stay because he wants ice cream. He decides, oh, I haven't finished my sandwich. And it didn't really seem like he was actually interested in the sandwich at all until the machine told him he had to stay. And the server is just staring at Pat because they've been here so long. And Don is stalling and eating his ice cream, probably as slowly as possible. And it seems to work, but there's still 4 minutes to 3, and he is waiting and waiting. And so, but finally can't wait any longer, and they have to leave before 3. Because Pat insists on it, and Don pays for the meal, and we didn't, yeah. Don thinks the machine is real because the answers were so specific. And Pat doesn't believe it, so they leave before 3. And Don knows that Pat is about to call him superstitious. So, yes, just like Scotty said earlier. Don knows he's the superstitious one. And since he's a superstitious one, everywhere they go when they're walking around town, he's looking around, he's extra alert, extra on edge because of this machine. And it is logical. Yes. They're not the Hellier whales. They like you very much, though. Shatner's hairy wrist. Yes, we did get to see Shatner's hairy wrist. It's green. That's a deep cut for the show. At least it wasn't hairy palms. Yeah, no, if he had hairy palms, then he would be Dracula or a vampire or a different vampire. It was probably a wrist toupee. Oh, no. No, I don't think anybody does that. I never. That's hilarious. And so there's a lot of tension here where he's just on the edge, just waiting. Oh, he says the R word. So I'm going to say the R word. So YouTube, this is in context of the Twilight Zone and William Shatner speaking the lines, where I think, though, this R word was not a derogatory word at this time, the time of the production of this episode. I think it was just, it meant what it meant and nobody used it in a bad way. But Don says, "Stop treating me like a retarded child. I didn't make those answers up." And so, yeah. It's just like that Quantum Leap episode made before it was a word that you can't use anymore. So they cross the street, and like Scotty said, if they would have used the crosswalk and waited for the little, I don't know if they had the little cross don't cross indicators, then they probably wouldn't have had any trouble. But what happens is they cross the street and there's a truck, but then also there's a car that's speeding. And it's going so fast that if they hadn't dashed that extra hard due to Don's being on extra guard, he's paying attention more than normal and looking out for danger due to his superstition and believing the machine. If he hadn't,
Jill, don't treat me like an R-word child.
I actually said it.
but you said it. Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad that I wasn't here for
Yeah,
that
so
because
you
I
could
just would
say
have
it
said it
once
like,
if you want to.
nah, I'm not going to. I would have said it like 7 times. If you let me do it once, I'm just gonna let loose and let slip the dogs of war.
I will let you say it once, but you're refusing because if you say it once, you're gonna just keep saying it.
Yeah, it's a
at
gateway
least,
drug.
at least you know yourself.
Yes.
I can say it once without saying it again.
Yeah, but I'm
But
retarded. So
it's the Twilight. It's the Twilight Zone. So there you go. You got one, and that's it. That's all you get. No more.
I can only say
I
it
think we
once.
said it. Yeah. After that happened, actually, I think you say it sometimes, and I don't get so mad at that word.
Well, because it
Well,
has a
Scotty.
specific definition.
Yeah. But I don't want to use it too much.
No.
After that happens, okay, so he goes. They are not killed, so because Don was paying attention.
Not really.
Yeah, he
But
was. Well, he was paying enough attention because this car is speeding, and it was about to kill them.
did you make an Edith Keeler joke?
I didn't write one, but I thought about her. I didn't
Yes.
know if I wanted to bring up City on the Edge of Forever, but you can't watch this episode without thinking that part. I thought, man, is it going to be like that where he gets across the street but she gets killed? I was expecting this.
Me too.
And now it's the clock strikes 3 and they go back to the machine. Don is drawn back to the machine. They go back to the diner. Now he knows how Edith Keeler felt. Yeah, except he got the better ending. Edith Keeler should have been brought aboard the Enterprise and taken to a starbase.
No.
But I still love the episode. I know, poetically, it's not as pretty. But logically.
Yes.
So, Don's problem is that these ladies are at his machine. And he doesn't want to use any of the other machines. But they're all the same to Pat. And she really doesn't believe in this stuff. And
I want
she
to
says,
alienate everyone who is named Patricia ever. But there was a moment where instead of being called Pat, ladies went with Trish, which I think is a far more lovely short form of Patricia.
mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Trish is a good name too, but nobody calls her that here.
No.
It
It's
was
just Pat.
Yeah, Pat says, "Don, you said 3, not the machine. You decided to sit in here as long as we did. You. Oh, this is ridiculous. Can't you see that you made up all the details and all that? That thing did was give back generalities." And so here's what Mark Scott Zicree says about this episode. Nothing is overt, all is suggestion. Maybe the machine is predicting the future, maybe not, which is, of course, the uncertainty underlying all superstitious belief. The point that Matheson succeeds in making is whether or not there's magic at work, the effect is the same. A loss of free will and independence of action.
And not to completely disagree with Mr. Zicree, but this is an episode that I find to be completely grounded in reality, and it is only the superstition of Dawn that propels the episode. And even when we do get the sort of denouement, the coda of it, when we see the other people who are under the thrall of the seer or whatever it's called, it's like, no, you've just given yourself over to this machine. You have relinquished your free
That's the
will.
best part. Yes, that is exactly what we see. We see one couple escape and one trapped. But
Of
so
their own
Dawn,
machinations.
Dawn asked the machine if it knew about the car almost hitting them, and the answer is, "What do you think?"
Yeah.
Then he asks, "Will we reach New York all right now?" Pat, uh, um, and the mystic seer says, "Your chances are good." At this point, Pat is losing patience, and Don says, "Oh, I haven't given you any lines in this episode. Here, have a Shatner."
Oh, sweet. Honey, what do you expect? A slip should come out and say, "Hiya, Donzi and Patsy. So how's you by you? Excuse me, I never said these slips were made for us personally."
Don't you realize that you could get the same kind of answers from any one of the machines in here? Try and see. And oh, right, there was another line.
The same kind, maybe, but not the same answers.
And so Don asks, how will it still take 4 hours before the car is ready? And the machine answers, "It has already been taken care of." And so here you are. Here's your mechanic. You get to see him
Hey,
now. Oh, although I guess I got a few shots of Shatner here just because I liked it. His different expressions, reading these. It's all in the acting. A lot of work in this episode is acting because there's not a lot of action. There's not a lot of things going on, so it's all them, and they have the chemistry to pull it off.
there he is.
Yeah, there
What
he
do
is.
you say, Batman? That was a terrible Irish accent, but whatever, I don't care. Yeah. No,
At
there
least you
he
didn't
is.
say what
Chico
you
O'Hara.
usually say when you're doing that
What?
accent.
Diddly diddly
Just
dee potatoes.
yes. Oh, okay. I guess I asked for it.
You
Just
did.
then, a mechanic comes and confirms this. They had found a fuel pump and fixed the car sooner than expected. So,
Darby
yay.
O'Gill and the Little People. Why don't you go and catch the Riddler, boy wonder? See, that was better. That was better.
Okay. So and Don wants Pat to start asking the machine questions since he's been doing all the asking. So he thinks maybe if she uses it, maybe she'll believe it, I suppose. And Pat asks a lot of questions, but they're all not very helpful. "Will we reach Columbus by tomorrow?" And Don's like, "We're not going through Columbus. If that's what you really want," the seer says. "Will I ever be married?" Obviously, this is she's baiting it because she's obviously already married. And the seer says, "The answer to that is obvious." And Pat says, "It's not possible to foretell the future, is it?" The seer answers, "That's up to you to find out." And then Pat says, "You're just a stupid piece of junk, aren't you?" And the seer says, "It all depends on your point of view." And she asks to leave. "I don't want to stay here anymore, Don." And Don says, "Even if it's true?" And Pat says, "Especially if it's true." And then we get some more lines. I'm gonna put these in the chat. These are good.
All right. But I think going back to what PvP said at the beginning of the broadcast, and William Shatner is not an overactor. I think that he is very
Yeah, he's not.
expressive. I think he's charming. I think he's handsome. I think that, yeah, like people bring up whatever his hair. Like, I think he looks completely follicled right now. It doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't look like a toupee.
It's not.
I
It's not right now. I think somebody mentioned.
but he said receding nicely or aggressively, one or the other. But like, I think that this is one of those episodes of this show where, yes, it's the Twilight Zone, but it's a Twilight Zone of Dawn's making. What if it does tell me the future? What if
Yes.
it is this machine that has given me clairvoyance into the future, conjuring up my new job as office manager?
I think you're right to say that this is the kind of Twilight Zone that people make for themselves in reality.
Mm.
So let's read these lines.
All right, we got a script. So where do we go? Here we are. I start at, yes, I do. No, you listen to me. This machine is predicting our future. Do you think I could just walk away from it?
I'm not talking about that machine anymore. I'm talking about you. Are you going to just sit here and let that thing run your life?
Run my life? Run my life.
Isn't that exactly what you're letting it do? Dawn, it made you call the office before. It made you stay here instead of leave. It made you afraid to walk down the street. And now it's telling you where you're going to live. Why, it's as if every superstitious feeling you've ever had is wrapped up in that machine. It doesn't matter whether it can foretell the future. What matters is whether you believe more in luck and fortune than you do yourself.
Antibodies. Sorry.
And then she says, "Don't destroy the one named Kirk." Oh, wait, wrong show. What
Not
she really
chess,
says
Mr.
is
Spock. Poker.
what she what she really says is, "You have a mind, a wonderful mind. Don't destroy it trying to justify that cheap penny fortune machine to yourself."
Well, and that's what I like. I guess that's sort of where I fall with this episode, is that Don is a superstitious man. He's acknowledging it. He's self-aware about it. He knows that it can lead to folly in the same way that alcoholism can. And when confronted by the woman he loves, he's like, you know what? I love you better than what I believe.
Mhm. Yes. Yes,
And
and
that's the
ultimately
power of love.
ultimately that is what saves them, is their love for each other and
Mhm.
his respect for her. And oh, that's just so sweet. You watch this episode and it's saccharine. It's like, oh, look at them. They really are. They really feel like real newlyweds.
Well, they're not newlyweds.
Aren't they?
No, because they say, like, even Pat says, she's like, am I ever going to be married? I think they're going
They
to New
no,
York to
no, no,
get
no.
married.
No, no, no. They are married. She's asking. She was deliberately asking it stupid questions. They are
All right,
already married. That-
you know what? I'm going to have to see pictures of their hands.
Okay, so the opening narration says a honeymoon team.
Yeah.
So they're obviously moving to their new place. So their honeymoon means that they've been married. And
I'm just going to have to see some wedding bands to make it cemented in my mind.
no, there's no question that they're married. They are married.
Well,
It
then
says at the
provide the
beginning of the
proof.
episode. Oh, okay. Give me just a second.
No, I know I'm making it difficult, but I'm just saying if they have wedding bands on, then obviously they're married, and then I will see the point.
No, it's in the script. And somebody says
I'm a visual
married.
learner.
Oh, okay. So I thought I married a man with confidence.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Still going to need to see that wedding band.
Okay. Well, now you're just asking for.
Now I'm being difficult. You know, I could
Mhm.
put a penny into the Mystic Seer.
Yeah, there you are. The Mystic Seer has all the answers.
Yes.
All you need is to visit the diner. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Well, he keeps leaving the change.
Yeah. So where was I in my notes? Now I started to look where it said about being married and I lost where it was.
Sorry.
It's
Ish.
okay. So she says they can be free of the machine and live their own lives. on their own, which I agree with. She says, I don't want to know what's going to happen. I want us to make it happen together. She's just ultimately the romantic here.
Well, and then Dawn says, "Are you of the body?"
Yes. No, he finally says, "You're right. I'm a jerk."
Yes. Well, and that's when he gets like really intense, and it's like, oh man, you're pawing at your lady a lot. Like he grabs her by the shoulders, by the, that romantic point where you sort of cup the back of the nape of a neck and then you go in for a strong kiss. But he's doing it a little bit too aggressively. Like it's almost like, I don't want to lose you, but I do believe in the box on the table. Like it's very.
It's contrasting to how he's caressing the box right now. Look at this. He's not really caressing it, but he's like really holding on, and he plays with the head a little bit.
Okay, we're gonna have to work on phrasing.
No, I think it works.
He does. He works the head.
Okay, so here you go. Read that one.
All right.
You do the intense line.
Yes, I am. I am the world's biggest jerk. Come on, let's go get our car.
They're so cute.
Yep. I was actually looking to see if Pat had played anybody in Star Trek, because she did look, I don't know, maybe it was just based on the era. She looked familiar, but no, I don't recognize her from Star. See, look at this. This is a little bit much.
But that's probably what it is. I think you explained it perfectly. He is so tied up with this machine, but then he realizes, no, wait, my wife is more important than this machine, just as you mentioned. And so he makes his choice, and of course, it's the correct one.
Let's get out of here, Pat. Let's get our car from Chief O'Hara and atomic batteries to power and turbines to speed. Punch it, old chum.
And as they escape the machine, another couple walks in. The man looks like he's already jonesing for something. He knows about the machine. And they have their pennies.
No, they have Dawn's pennies. Dawn left his pennies.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Wow. Leaving pennies. Yeah, he doesn't. She makes a mention at some point. It looks like I'm going to have to be the fiscally responsible one in this marriage or something like that. He just leaves pennies. And I know pennies aren't worth much now, but they were worth something then.
We're not talking about you, Penny. You're worth dollars today.
Diamonds.
Silver and gold. Silver and gold.
And
Penny
so
is worth both silver and gold.
And so we think Dawn and Pat escaped, but this couple is here asking questions about whether or not they'll be able to leave.
Yeah, that's John and Beverly.
Yeah, they're not given any names, but we know that they're trapped in the city because of the answers given to them because they're listening to this machine.
No, I disagree with you wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they walk in, John looks and Beverly is like, and I'm making up the names, and he's like he's got anticipation and dread. He wants to find out what the mystic seer is going to tell him, but Beverly is sitting there being like, oh my God, he thinks it's magic. And so he's going through it being like, are we going to leave? Are we going to be able to survive? And every time he gets one, it's like, it is, again, like, I don't know. This is something that occurred at the time. They'd already made reference to alcoholism in this episode, but he walks back into the diner. He starts feeding pennies into the mystic's ear. And she's just like, I wish he would stop. I wish you would stop. And Dawn was wise enough to listen to the counsel of his woman, his wife, And he was like, you know what, you're right. I'm being a monkey. But John and Beverly, John is the one who's like, oh, tell us we'll survive. And Beverly's like, dude, if you stopped listening to this piece of plastic or tin, we'd be gone by now. What is your problem?
Yeah, I agree with you, but I don't know what you were disagreeing with me about. So that was kind of lost. But I
Well, I
agree with
didn't. Maybe if we
perspective
agree,
of
then I shouldn't have been preemptively disagreeing. I apologize for that.
I don't know. I don't know what you were disagreeing with exactly. But
Me neither.
they
Now you
ask
mention it.
the
Wait.
they
Wait. I have the perfect answer. Yes, I am. I'm the world's biggest jerk. Come on, let's get our car.
Oh, yeah, that works. Actually, that works every time.
You're a
Do you
slave to
think
this episode, Jill.
do you think we might leave Ridgeview today? He asked the machine. Is there any way out? Any way at all? And so then we get the closing words of this episode. And so they're entrapped by this machine. And I think you're right about her. She doesn't want to be here, but she's not as brave as Pat to say it. And because Pat actually stood up for herself and said what she was thinking, they escaped.
Yeah. It's me or the
And
Satan box.
and it worked out. It really did work out. And she didn't even have to make that ultimatum either. It's just the way that she carried herself that convinced Dawn.
Don't you know
So
who
here,
you are? Don't you know that your decisions are what are
yes,
determining the outcome of this?
yes. She complimented him. She said that you've got the brain power to be the master of your own destiny.
You got the touch. You got the power. Well, you can tell what kind of afternoon it is.
A one where you read the closing narration to a Twilight Zone episode?
Counterbalance in the little town of Ridgeview, Ohio. Two people permanently enslaved by the tyranny of fear and superstition, facing the future with a kind of helpless dread. Two others facing the future with confidence, having escaped one of the darker places of the Twilight Zone.
Yes. And so there they are escaping the Twilight Zone. They've left it.
Proving once again that the Twilight Zone is something that you can visit.
Yeah, it is. It is something you can visit. And they've gone. They've left. You don't know when you're that's the problem with the Twilight Zone. You don't know when you're entering it. And once you're in its grasp, you may not be able to leave.
Witness William Shatner once again returning to the Twilight Zone, this time not by car, but by airplane. And this time, there will be a terror at 20,000 feet.
And then, well, when we get there, we're only going to review that episode because we're going to, by that point, get into the 1 hour long episodes.
Really? Oh, man, you got to warn me.
I will warn you when it's coming up.
Okay.
So very oddly, you liked what?
I like doing the 2 episodes. It's kind of like it's a variety pack. It's a Kellogg mixer pack.
Well, maybe we'll do 2. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
We'll figure it out. It's not for like another year.
There's no preview for next week. I couldn't find the preview for next week.
What is
it wasn't
next
at
week?
The end of this. The lateness of the hour.
Okay.
But I guess they didn't record a promo for it, and so we don't get one for it.
Well, this is November. Like this was this episode was released
Christmas
on
time,
November
yeah.
16th, so Christmas time, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But then for after the next episode, there's a preview for the next week. So next week we're also going to talk about this one. An attractive and rather imposing room lived in by a man named Templeton, and like most rooms, suggestive really of only a part of the man, the outside part. Our story next week takes off from here. Mr. Brian and here lends us his considerable talents in a script by E. Jack Newman called The Trouble with Templeton. It can best be described as a poignant, provocative, and highly diverting trip into the Twilight Zone. So there's the promo for The Trouble with Templeton, and then we're going to also talk about the lateness of the hour next time. But this time, of course, we talked about two really fantastic episodes, The Eye of the Beholder and Nick of Time. And so we're going to look at the poll and see what you guys thought about the episode. Or which one you guys liked more. And being a Star Trek channel, it should come to no surprise that we get Nick of Time wins 55%.
That's still a close race.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a pretty close one. Agreed. There it is.
Now, I voted for Nick of Time, but the thing is, I didn't vote for Nick of Time necessarily on, because I think they're both quality episodes. But I did sort of, again, there was a handicap towards Eye of the Beholder simply because I I felt that I knew the episode. And even though the ending had been spoiled for me over a lifetime of having consumed pop culture, the episode's really, really good. But I just found the surprise and also the happy ending of Nick of Time to be more satisfying for me. So if you take away my foreknowledge of Eye of the Beholder, and there's so many variables, like Shatner being, young, handsome, like the woman who played Pat being supportive and gorgeous. Like there was something more. Maybe, and also it may just be human nature in terms of me connecting with the story based on being able to see people's faces.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, this little thing called acting would make, who wouldn't know that would make a television program more entertaining.
I think that I think that Eye of the Beholder is brilliant. But it had been spoiled, it had been parodied, it's something that has always been there, and it's almost like a cereal commercial. It's just something that's always been around in my life pop culturally, and with Nick of Time, it was new. It was fresh. I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't know what I was going to see. And so, yeah, I think I gave more credit to Nick of Time because of that, in terms of being surprised.
Yeah, and it's always a delight when there's a happy ending for the Twilight Zone. You always think everything's gonna, and you're always anticipating that bad ending because it could happen, and it did happen for another couple, but ours got to be free, and that's nice.
Yeah, but I didn't know them. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. We don't care about them that much.
They got free pennies.
Mm-hmm. And they can leave whenever they want. They just don't. They're just letting themselves be trapped. So it's kind of a self-made trap.
Welcome to the Richmond in Ohio.
PG says it's like the nasty fortune cookies that say you'll never amount to anything. I've never gotten a fortune cookie that told me something like that.
PG. No, that's one of my favorite. That's the Elliot Gould episode of the Twilight Zone from the 80s. And the last one that sorry, I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, no, the Elliot Gould fortune cookies. That was a great episode. Didn't mean to bring everything to a grinding halt, but
No,
you
no,
know,
no. I was saying I turned off the tiny chat because if we have the live chat up, we don't need the tiny chat. You know what I mean? This show
sure,
comments on stage, the little thing.
absolutely, yeah.
So PG says that's a pretty sensible checkered blouse for a believer in the occult. No, well, and that's the point of the episode is that she doesn't. Putting the coin in the fortune thing. Yes, that's right.
Well,
glove
if
cleaner
you'll
says-
excuse me, I'm gonna go to the casino.
The casino. Where is the casino?
It's like right over there. All I have to do is drop pennies into the machine, pull the thing, and say, "Will I be rich?"
Will I be pretty?
Here's what it says to me. No.
FKHC 2005 says Glenn Miller. My grandfather played craps, dice for younglings, with him in 1944. It's a fun story.
That is I would love to hear that story, FKH. See, 2005. Yeah, man. I'm a big Glenn Miller fan. I enjoy it. I like horns, so.
Yeah.
American Patrol is the name of the song.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna go listen to it later. Thank you for telling me. I was wondering. I was gonna look it up, but I forgot. I forgot to Shazam it. Mage Media Musing says chicken fried steak can only reach the level of meh. Well, I
I've
don't
never
know. It
had it.
depends on how crispy it is and how not overcooked the inside is. The steak. I don't know. I think it's possible to make a good one. Greek Letters Larson says, even in the slideshow, I can discern William Shatner overacting. That man sure knows how to captivate the audience. He was definitely captivating. I don't think, except for when he was trying to escape the machine, I don't think he overacted. And even then, I don't think it was overacting. I think it was the perfect amount of drama that the situation absolutely called for in terms of his decisions. This is what the Howling Man got up to post escape. Should I stay or should I go? Says the glove
You know,
cleaner.
if you stay, it will be trouble. If you go, it will be double. Or strike that and reverse it. I don't know.
I didn't even think about the song. Of course, I know that song. The machine is AI before there was AI. Yeah, it does seem to be responding to him personally, even though it's sort of ambiguous as to whether or not it is sentient.
It's not sentient. Listen to Pat.
Mm-hmm. It's a good choice. Oh yeah, I played some videos earlier, so we got some quotes there. And oh yeah, and I read those. You can say the R word if you're talking about dumb bombs. The military still uses it. Oh yeah,
Well,
it's a scientific word. It is also a scientific word.
Yeah, I was speaking to an electrician the other day, and we were talking about the passage of electricity in between different conductors, and he said, "Well, you do have to understand that there are certain elements, there are certain forms of matter that retard. They retard the transfer of electricity, and so you'd have to say that the electricity was retarded." And that's actual factual. Like, I'm not talking about anybody else. Except for the electrician. Who was not in that particular instance. Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
I made my point. All right. Good.
You did. Yeah, that was cute. Glove cleaner says, I think he got brain freeze from the ice cream.
Well, yeah, no. Don definitely ate both bowls of ice cream. Also,
Yeah, right?
like, I don't know.
I
Maybe I'm
agree
of a
with you.
certain age, but why did they always serve it in that little goblet with a stem? Like, and it was like one scoop. Like, what am I? I guess, yeah.
No,
I guess.
people were not obese back in the day, so the serving sizes were not enormous.
Well, and don't forget that would have been sort of a result of rationing from previous wars.
Hmm. Oh, maybe that too. That's also a good point. And I guess, I mean, some of them I'm sure were obese, but not as much as now.
Oh yeah, they didn't make a show called Jake and the Fat Man because everyone was svelte.
Mm. FKHC 2005 says your name loudly. That truck needs to retard its speed, says Sigvaldson,
Yeah.
also using the word scientifically.
Yeah. Or when you see a truck very rapidly decrease speed, you can point and say that truck is retarded because of the nature of the speed. This is actual
We're really
factual.
milking this.
I'm not pushing envelopes. I'm saying the way that you anyway.
Pat, as played by Julia Sweeney, says FKHC.
I've never seen the movie. I've only seen the skits.
Yeah, Cagney had a legendary career doing it well, says Pete G, in terms of overacting, not being necessarily bad.
But that's also the nature of the era of cinema. But yes,
Well,
you're
isn't
right.
there another word for overacting that is the nicer word for it? What is it called?
Being a ham.
Yeah, maybe. I thought of ham, but I think I'm thinking of something
Over-emoting.
else. No, that's not it either. Oh well.
Showboating.
Expressive. No, showboating wouldn't be good either. An office manager on the USS Enterprise. Yes, Don is the office manager on the USS Enterprise. He's just a twin brother to James T.
He has to grow a
Kirk.
mustache so he can be Sam.
or George. Risk is his business. They're a cute couple, really. They are. They are. Even if you just watching the slides are cute, but on in motion, man, they're adorable.
I buy their relationship, yeah.
They're married, but not to each other. Ooh, no. No, they're married to each other. Come on. Patricia Breslin married Art Modell, the guy who moved
The Cleveland Browns.
Oh,
That was devastating from what I understand of my limited understanding of the Cleveland Browns. But don't
the
forget.
fault. What are we gonna forget?
Oh, that the Fugly colony is in Cleveland.
Oh.
That's what I heard.
The fault is not in the stars, but in ourselves. Now is time. This is the hour. Ours is the magic. Ours is the power.
Are
And
these
is
lyrics for Labyrinth?
I don't know.
Nor
Is
do
that an hour-long episode? 20,000 feet is a lot. I was surprised to find out it's in season 5, the season with the hour-long episodes.
Yeah, we got a way to go.
Gavin says it was directed by Richard Donner.
His first masterpiece.
Yes.
Oh, Gavin says
Oh,
no.
no,
It was
it
back
was
to season
season
5, which is the
5.
25-minute format.
What? Oh, okay.
We'll find out.
Yeah, I know we'll find out. And so I don't Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Gavin knows his stuff. I don't know why I thought. I guess season 4 is the one with the hour-long episodes. Is it just one season, Gavin, that has hour-long? And the Gloves Cleaner says, I thought so. Nick of Time is criminally underappreciated episode. overall. Yeah. When I say the episode of The Twilight Zone with William Shatner, nobody thinks of Nick of Time.
Well, and also
Almost
the
nobody.
title itself is completely, it doesn't describe the episode itself. It has nothing to do with time,
Well, kind
except for
of. I
possibly
mean,
escape.
they escape in the nick of time. The being run over and being
I
trapped by
suppose.
the machine.
Well, the machine didn't really trap them.
It tried.
No, it didn't.
Mm. Or maybe it
It-
didn't. Yeah, okay. You're such a pat.
You can call me Trish.
I think I'm not. Mage's Media Musing says if they stayed as the machine suggested, they would have encountered the other couple. Yeah, the other couple would be like, "Hey, that's our machine. You need to move." And then they get into a fight.
Ba, ba,
Watch your
ba,
ex.
ba, ba. Sorry.
Yes. Watcher X says air conditioning wasn't as widespread. Most boomers didn't have it during school age.
That's why most boomers nowadays, when you go into their houses, it feels like a meat locker because it's something that they didn't have for the first 15 years of their lives. It's like I want to lie in an absolute sub-zero environment. Yeah, that's right. They all sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger from Batman and Robin.
That's cool.
Sig Bogdason says, Scotty, that is from The Craft. Now is the time. I've never seen The Craft, dude.
Me neither.
I'm going to have to, I'll write it down because I know it's on my list.
Okay, that's it. Season 4 was the hour-long ones. Okay. Sterling really disliked going to an hour long. And we'll hear all about it in season 4.
Yeah, can't wait.
And there we are. Yeah. So.
Well, I got to go. I'm out of time.
Yeah, well, I'm out of time too. Can we close the show together, or are we?
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Separate. Are we having 2 endings? Because that's all for this time in the Twilight Zone. And thanks again, everyone, for being amazingly insightful in the chat, and also you too, Scotty, here in the panel. I had a lot of fun. And we're going to continue season 2 next time with those 2 episodes. The lateness of the hour and the trouble with Templeton. Not the trouble with troubles. We're done with the Star Trek. Although you never know when a Star Trek person is going to show up.
True. Or a Batman.
Or a Batman person. Yeah. All right. So what's going on with you?
Okay, so tomorrow, just in general, subscribe to Cinema Gulp. Looking down the barrel of like 50 people until he hits, or they, all of the Cinema Gulpers, hit 1,000 subscribers, and everyone knows what that means. Although they've been going for like 5 or 6 years, maybe 9 years. 9 years.
9.
And so, yeah, so they really. They've been dangled the carrot of monetization in front of them for going on a decade. And so I think at this point, it's just a matter of being like, subscribe and give the recognition. But we're going to be talking about summer blockbusters and blockbusters in general on the next show over there. And that's going to be amazing. And so I'm looking forward to doing that. And I want to thank Ben, Joanne, John, Bobak, everybody who's over Ben, the other Ben. There's 2 Bens, and so that's lovely. And then Thursday, over on the Phantasmagorium, Kat, Steve, myself, and Ernesto are going to be talking about Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. So we're going to be wrapping up that particular, or at least all of the Mission Impossible movies that have been released thus far. Friday, ack. And then on Saturday, this has been a long time coming, my second viewing of Dogma in a movie theater. So I'm going to be going to see Dogma in cinemas for the 25th anniversary extravaganza. And I'm there to not only support movie theaters, but also Kevin Smith, because I enjoy poop jokes.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be cool. Uh, Did you watch Dogma in theaters when it came out?
Yes.
Okay, so this is gonna be a
This will be my
rewatch.
second time. For all those people who are like, I saw the Rolling Stones 15 times in theaters. I mean, it's like, yeah, but did they have a poop monster? The answer is no. So I win. 2 poop monsters is better than 15 Keith Richards. All right.
So Conker's Bad Fur Day can compete with Dogma.
I played that. I finished that. Yeah. I played that on the Nintendo 64.
There's a
First time I
giant.
ever tried to quit
Yeah.
smoking. I quit smoking for approximately 3 weeks, bought Conker's Bad Fur Day, and then played it. And then it was so good I had to start smoking again.
Well, yeah, and it does have a giant poop monster who sings opera.
And you have to shoot corn into the poop monster's mouth. You have to feed it back the corn that it shoots at you. It's great.
Yes. Yes, that is a wonderful boss fight. Like,
It is.
oh,
It's
I don't
kinda
want
fun.
this boss fight to be over because then he's gonna stop singing. So, oh right,
Jill,
I
did
gotta
you want to
close the
explain
poll.
ack?
Oh yes, that. Oh right, on Friday. All right, so let me do. On Friday, we're going to review the movie Mars Attacks, and it's going to be lots of fun.
And a
And so it's just a fun frivolousness.
quick preview, though.
Yes.
What's happening next week?
Oh, whoa! You want to talk about next Friday already?
I think people deserve to get excited for something because I want to know, and I think you want to know. This is something that has been a passion of yours, and I want you to
Oh
get
right.
people excited.
Okay. Well, when I was a kid, I did watch a lot of Steven Spielberg cartoons, and one of them was Tiny Toons, and they made a TV movie called How I Spent My Summer Vacation. And I think it's a lot of fun and it's really cute. And we're gonna talk about it next Friday. And it'll be like a day at the beach. That's what I think I'm gonna make it like.
Nice.
Right now, Herc 130 says I'm at 26,000 feet high on the American Airlines heading to Los Angeles. Hello, Jill and gang. I can't get video. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. On American Airlines. Are you on vacation? That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That's great, Herc 130. Thank you for bringing my broadcast into the sky. Wow. And DJ Knight loves Tiny Toons. Yay. Yeah, it's been so long since we went to Happy World Land. That's exactly. Hey, some people know about
See?
it.
You gotta
I'm
tell
excited.
people what's
I'm
up.
excited for the vacation too.
Yes.
So thanks again for everyone being here. Thank you, Entropy Manor. Thanks, DJ Knight. Thank you, Herc 130. PG says thank you both. Right back at you. And thank you for giving us such great things to talk about. Everyone's company has been really wonderful today. Mages Media Musings, very good. FKHC 2005. Penny.
Sigvaldison.
And Sigvaldison, thank you so much, Sigvaldison, for the super chat. Also, FKHC 2005, thank you for the super chat. And thanks
Yep.
for continuing to be a member. Matt G. Thanks for hanging out. Greek Letters Larson, who was confused at first when I said the R word. The Glove Cleaner. Gavin Blackburn. And if I missed you, oh, there's Booger also.
Booger.
And sorry if I missed you. Classic Comics. He does the Star Trek streams and obviously Classic Comics. Like the planet Miranda. Oh yeah. I need to learn about this planet Miranda. I'm gonna go rewatch my Firefly.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
Jedi
been a
Master.
long road.
Jedi
Oh,
Master,
wrong show.
DJ Knight. Oh, Yeah. Oh, why doesn't Ben do an Star Trek Enterprise video? Anyway,
Because he wants
maybe
to.
later.
I think it's about time. I think it's about time to do a little bit of a Firefly.
That makes sense.
It'll bring us serenity.
I need to find my closing videos. So thanks again for everyone being here and hanging out with us. I hope to see you tomorrow if you're a
Next
member.
week. Oh, sorry. Oh, right. We have a member stream tomorrow.
We have a
Jesus.
member stream tomorrow.
I'm gonna have to buy more
So
weed.
at 11 a.m. So that'll be a party. And then on Friday, we're gonna continue the party with Mars Attacks. And that'll be it for the week. And I hope to see you guys again next Tuesday in the
For a
Twilight
terrific
Zone.
Twilight Zone. Yeah. Oh, I stepped all over it. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't. You added to it. It was a tremendous Twilight Zone.
I feel like I retarded it.
Learn all that is learnable.
And the ways our differences combine to create meaning and beauty.
It has always been easier to destroy than to create.
May we together become greater than the sum of both of us.
Well, now you have something new to think about. Carry on.
All right, move along. Done. Stop it. Get off of the things. Go outside. Get some food. It's like, it's a time of day where you live. Go do something. Shut up, Snoopy. I don't care. You smoke too much. Let's go. Let's go adventure. Let's go explore.
Emma.